Welcome everybody to the Plug and Play podcast. What episode is this? I think this is episode 5 or 6.
I think it's 6.
Okay, 6. Yep, got 6 episodes already. My name is Alexis, of course, and my co-host Cameron. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on, everybody?
All right, and Henry, what up? How you doing?
Doing great.
All right, so we got like a kind of like a smaller show, I guess, but there's just some cool news in here that that hasn't covered between these past 2 weeks. So let's get started with the first one because this is the Embracer Group podcast. Embracer Group, they've confirmed that they sold Saber Interactive for $247 million. They were the maker of like Metro. Oh wait, this is 4A games. They're a maker of Metro series such as like with Embracer or Zen Studios, who also made the Zen pinball games. I remember those games. I think I had one on the PS3. They will also be sold as part of this deal for Saber Interactive, totaling $500 million. And Saber, they're going to continue working on games that they've already had in development, such as the KOTOR remake that hasn't come out yet. It's been in limbo for a while now. Toxic Avenger, I think that's a movie, right?
Yeah, it's based on a really old,
Okay.
kind of slasher fic of sorts. It's kind of a cult classic film.
Okay, because I remember seeing YouTube clips of that like a while ago. I'm like, oh, okay, that name rings a bell. And Jurassic Park Survival, which was just unveiled at the Game Awards. First person, though, so that's interesting. Henry, you want to talk about this Saber Interactive and Embracer? I guess you're like the Embracer leader of this the whole thing.
I'm the Embracer aficionado, man.
Aficionado, that's the word.
Yeah, this is Embracer has been a long-running topic. I think, every single episode we've had
Probably,
some big
yeah.
Embracer thing
It is a year.
happen. Yeah, it is their year, sir. Absolutely. But Embracer obviously continuing to go through their very, very belabored restructure. So Saber was sold for $247 million. So it's very funny. So if you go back through the press release for Embracer when they made this sale, they really try to cover it up and make it look like a lot of stuff happened that probably didn't, or they try to really spoof it up and make it look good. So Embracer said that Saber Interactive was sold for $500 million, which is technically true, but it's not the whole truth. So Saber Interactive was sold for 247. As part of the deal, they also got 4A Games and Zen Studios, along with several other of their subsidiary studios that Saber Interactive was already kind of a compromised group of. So like Alexis was saying, 4A Games is the guys behind Metro. Embracer will still retain the rights to the Metro series, but 4A Games goes with Saber, so you get the talent of 4A Games, which I think is still pretty solid. And then Zen Studios, which is known for the Zen Pinball series, which I don't think they've done a whole lot beyond that, but the Zen Pinball series was a big deal back in the day. Maybe not anymore, but still, it's something. So, but they got them, and that was what made the deal go up to $500 million. In addition to that, their big reason for this sale was they wanted to, quote-unquote, discontinue operations in Russia. So they felt, I guess, Embracer felt there was a lot of geopolitical tension in their business operations, and they wanted to distance themselves. This is just PR.
I agree. Yep.
Because, every company wanted to get out of being in Russia at all during, when they declared war on Ukraine. It was just bad business to be there because everybody was so anti-Russia and so pro-Ukraine that a lot of American companies pulled out. In general, just companies, not even American, but in general, a lot of companies pulled out. And so it just so happened that this sale also aligned with that, and they wouldn't have any units in Russia anymore. Mm-hmm. So they were just like, yeah, that's why we did it. And it's like, okay, yeah, well, you should have done that maybe a while ago, since there's been a war going on there for a minute. So it seems a little wishy-washy. And then last time we had a sale with Embracer, I was wondering how much the studio was originally bought for, and then how much they sold it for. So how much we kind of assumed they took a loss, but I went back and confirmed that. So Saber was originally purchased for $525 million in 2020. So confirmed they lost over $25 million out the gate. Just, they didn't have to do anything. Saber walked away with $25 million just for the privilege of being bought and sold, and doing nothing else other than their normal business operations. So pretty good deal for Saber, and pretty bad deal for Embracer, who's clearly just trying to recoup on anything. But yeah, that's the highs and lows of it. Cam, what do you think about this?
It's it's funny too, because we talked on the last episode and I was like, yeah, if people are wondering why we keep talking about this, it's because it's a huge deal. And like, I retain that. Honestly, I think we all do. It's like, this is one of the biggest like studios in gaming, right? So you kind of have to talk about it. So I do find it like morbidly fascinating how often they're making news headlines, but this is definitely their year, as you guys so aptly put it. Interestingly enough, I was just doing a little bit of research on the back end for this kind of pulling out of Russia thing. So 4A Games headquartered in Ukraine, which I thought was kind of interesting as well, which is part of this deal, obviously. And I think it's funny. Like, I totally agree with you, Henry, that saying discontinue operations in Russia as part of the larger, group of things that are being sold here is like so BS, in my opinion. Like, that to me is just smacks of, oh yeah, we can somehow spin this to be like positive reflection upon us, which is, that's just corporate for you, I feel like, and that's always going to happen. But in terms of like the amount sold here, I am actually surprised I didn't take a bigger hit, to be completely honest with you, because
I'm same.
Even a $25 million hit is, I feel like it's kind of a mixed bag, because like on one hand, a lot of these sub studios, I guess you'd call them, haven't done anything recently that they've done. So from that perspective, I'm like, there's nothing boosting the sale price in recent memory. But on the flip side of that, it's also like, yeah, you bought it only 4 years ago, right? Less than 4 years ago, and are already having to sell it. And to me, that is a bigger problem, right? Even than the money is like, like we said before, they were gearing up for this huge acquisition, this huge influx of cash. Clearly didn't go through. Everybody knows it by this point. If it wasn't abundantly clear that was their plan, it is now, because the fact that they're selling studios they bought 4 years ago is like, all right, what was the game plan here? What was the long-term game plan?
Quick sell.
Yeah, it is, honestly. And I think at the end of the day, like, I called this before, we're going to continue to see them sell stuff. As far as the studios involved here, and like even just the games and development, like, to be honest with you, not really super up my alley. Like, this has been one of their biggest moves that I would say from a biased perspective hasn't affected like my personal tastes, which is kind of a weird, thing to say, but I think it's also kind of interesting to frame it in terms of like what you actually play. And like, I've dabbled in Metro and honestly wasn't really super into it. Never played Zen Pinball. It sounds like you guys have. And then some of these other games, like, just feel like they're in development hell. KOTOR remake is like, where is this game at? I feel like I heard about this like years ago.
Zero gameplay.
And have had zero.
Like, where is it?
Zero update. It's like, what is going on here? So yeah, I expect them to continue selling stuff, and to me, it's like, I don't know when this is going to end for Embracer. I don't think it's going to end anytime soon. They spent a shit ton of money, like a lot of money these last 5 years. So, yeah, they're going full fire sale, and they're going to continue to, I think.
It's honestly painful to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I was looking at I don't know why they bought all these studios. I think they're trying to corner the market or something. Because I was just looking at like the Saber, like the whole house and all their like smaller studios and like the games they make, and it's like, I don't think any of these like catch like my attention, I guess. They're mostly like support studios for like other companies as well. So like some of the games, like Evil Dead the game, do you remember that? They gave it on PS Plus after like a year or two. And then World War Z, I remember playing that. I found it kind of boring. And then they also made like Crisis Remastered. They worked on Halo. What the hell?
Support guaranteed.
Okay,
yeah, those kind of things get really messy. They probably had like 10 studios working on Halo, maybe more. Who knows?
Yeah, they got
all get so
Ghostbusters
mixed
as
up.
well. Yeah, it's like I don't see like where the money was going to go, because I think they just bought them because they were making KOTOR, because I think it was around that time they bought them, because it got announced when the PS5 launched, I think, when KOTOR got announced.
They shouldn't have been working on it at the time. I think Aspire, which we'll be talking about shortly, I think, originally was developing it. It went so poorly that they pulled them from the project and gave it to Saber. So I don't think they had it at the time.
Oh shit! Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Well, we'll see. I think Saber with KOTOR remake will be like a good good get for them, because their games are kind of eh. Like
yeah, and
Mud Runner. Like,
I think one thing like that we have to, I think that one thing, it honestly is kind of the bigger part of the story to me at least, and this is just blowing my perception of how much games are worth, which we always talk about. Like I brought up the example a couple weeks ago of like Final Fantasy fans think Final Fantasy is bigger than it is. And so like,
yeah,
it's always a funny thing to see what's really popular. I was going to say the bigger part of the story to me is, so they were bought for $247 million, including 4A Games, makers of Metro, Zen Studios, Zen Pinball, as you guys said before, bumps that from 247 to 500. So you're telling me 4A Games and Zen Studios alone are 253 of this, 253 million, which is more than, Saber Interactive on its own, who, like you said, worked on a ton of games. So like, I think it's actually kind of wild to me. And, this is always such an interesting thing is like 4A Games. I mean, I know Metro's popular, but Metro series, Zen Pinball series combined studios, 253 million is really surprising to me. I mean, like, good for them. Because like, I'm sure they got a huge chunk of that buyout. They usually do. Or at least some of it, I would say. So that's kind of nice for them. But yeah, that was surprising to me to see. I don't know about y'all.
No, I completely agree with that. Yeah, I think those numbers, I'd have to go back and double check. So like I was saying earlier, and I'm sorry I'm not fully fluent on this at the moment, but Saber Interactive was comprised of, it was kind of a head studio over several other studios. And I know that I think Embracer is keeping some of those subsidiary studios with Saber, so that could have lowered their price per se. So it's possible that price is kind of in line with what you'd expect with a 4A and a Zen Pinball. Still, either way, I still agree with you. Like, those numbers seem really high, especially for a Zen Studios. Like, what have they done, and how profitable even is Zen Pinball? Zen Pinball was really popular at the time, but that was on the PlayStation 3. Like, I don't know what they've done since, and I doubt its pinball games are that profitable. Maybe, but I mean, it's still 200x million or whatever for Zen Pinball is crazy to me. 4A a little bit more in line. Metro has been successful, but even with that, you don't have the Metro IP with them anymore, so you don't know how they're going to do with any other series. I would think they'd be much more valuable with the Metro rights attached. So it is really interesting to see the prices for those studios. I completely agree with that.
Yeah, I don't think they're even 4A Games are not even making Metro VR. I just saw it's called Vertical Games. So yeah, we'll see with everything that Embracer has. I mean, I don't know what other studios they have. They got a lot of fucking studios.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, anybody listening to this, I'd highly recommend you track this article down too, because it gives the full breakdown if you're just dying to know. And there's a lot of nuance to this. Like, it has a Saber will keep, and then an Embracer will keep section, and there's like 20 different studios listed. So like, there's definitely a lot of trickle down to this, I think, for sure. But yeah, we'll see what they continue to do. So yeah. Last
episode, we said something that Embracer has to meet their financial goals by March, or was it April? It was one of those months.
It's typically after a quarter ends, so I'd be
Okay.
surprised if it was March. It's probably April.
Okay, yeah. All right. I think after April we'll see like what happens to Embracer. So
Yeah, I think
there might be
some
more
kind of
layouts or like closures. So all right, that's enough Embracer talk. Shout out Henry for the analysis aficionado of Embracer. Let's get to the next one. Payday 3. They're having a poor performance. Their Starbreeze, who made these Payday games, their CEO was let go. I guess this is kind of expected because I think Payday 3 had this like, it was like this a game that like really like I guess like it had a really strong start like the first day I think, and then it like fucking went downhill like right like a steep downhill. Once people got like tired of all these server issues and everything, and then you have people going back to Payday 2, and it says right here it has 85 times as many players as Payday 3 currently, which is crazy that people would rather play the older game. I mean, I was just looking at it. It's weird because it looks like the same game. It's just that it just has like I guess I don't know, better gameplay, or I don't know. I didn't really get into Payday. I think I only played Payday 1 when it came out because it was like popular or something. Everybody's talking about it, and I only played it like one time. I'm like, this is kind of like Siege, like Rainbow Six, I guess.
It's got a lot of similarities to it, yeah.
Yeah, it's like slower, like tactical, I guess. But I mean, this was expected for Payday 3. This is the reason why it was day one on Game Pass, and then you also have I think a former CEO or like a employee talking shit about consoles. They're talking about like, oh, why are you playing? He's like, if you wanna, I heard they never fixed like Payday 2 on like PS3 or PS4, and it's like it's still broken to this day. And then one of the employees is like, oh, if you want a better experience, just go on PC or whatever. So
I think I do remember them saying that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, fuck this. I'm not buying your game. Did any of you guys play Payday 2 or 1 or even the third game? Because I didn't.
I played 2. It was free at one point, I think, on like PlayStation Plus or something like that.
Yeah,
I briefly played it. I did not have any friends to play it with at the time, so like that game is highly dependent on having like friends to play with. So I didn't really have a great experience with it. I pretty much picked it up to see what it was like and put it down almost immediately. But yeah, I think you kind of hit it spot on in a lot of those ways. It's very similar to the previous game. I watched a review right before popping on. I don't know if either of you realize this game came out back in like October. I completely forgot about it. Like this game, Payday 2 was very successful too. So it's really surprising to see Payday 3 fail this poorly. And, you know, they had so bad that they had to let go of the CEO, which, FYI, Starbreeze is owned by Embracer. So another win for Embracer back to back. Apparently the game was marred by server issues at launch. People were having a really hard time getting in games. And then after that, the development team never followed up with people to tell them when it was going to be fixed or how long it was going to take. And like Alexis was saying, you know, we're looking at the Steam numbers here. You know, it started off, the launch was actually really good. Just on Steam, there were about 77,000 concurrent players on launch, and I'm sure there were probably more via Xbox Game Pass because, you know, you don't have to pay anything. And then after that, it is a sharp cliff. It's a nosedive, and it just stays flat. It never goes back up. It just stays around like 100-something players. It's nothing. This is, you know, I don't even know what to say about this. This is, from what I've heard, this game didn't do anything to really improve anything. It was just, this is Starbreeze trying to put out a game. Payday 2 was out for 10 years.
Oh shit!
And in all honesty, it seems like that probably won't be that big of a hit to them because I know Payday 2 it's very reliant on like its DLC. So honestly, you just bring Payday 3 back and just let people continue to play Payday 2 if it still has an audience, and then try to push those microtransactions, that DLC, and you still have a revenue source. So from a business perspective, you know, I wouldn't be too upset, but it's still horrific to see, you know, the successor of this massively successful game for them completely flop. And yeah, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do moving forward, but I guess just continue to focus on Payday 2.
It just sucks because I'm looking at Steam charts on SteamDB. You guys
So
want to
was
guess
I.
the amount of players?
I can't
Right
because I have
now?
been looking and I can't cheat.
Okay.
So I'll let Henry guess.
All right, Henry, can you guess?
Oh,
Oh my god,
I'm gonna say
Pretty
20.
low.
20? Oh, that's so low. No,
Okay, I don't know.
it's right now it's at 190.
Okay,
And-
hey,
and
that's
the
better
peak-
than I thought.
Yeah, and the peak is crazy. It's at 78,000.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
All-time
Holy
peak.
sh-
Yeah, so I was actually just looking at the Steam chart too, Alexis. It's funny you bring this up. So I was actually pulling up a bunch of, and I've done this just casually. I actually am not a huge PC gamer. I've talked about that before, but I like looking at the Steam charts because it's so interesting to me as
It is,
somebody
yeah.
interested in the industry to just see how some games fall off so hard and some do the complete opposite. Like Among Us was just so crazy of a story to see, and like
Mm-hmm.
I'm seeing with your typical multiplayer shooter, it's hard to pinpoint the percentage loss of players from peak or like on release, but I'm seeing somewhere around 20 to 45 on the high end ish percent drop off per month, right? So like a new Call of Duty comes out, 80,000 peak players next month, probably around 65,000, right? 20% drop off, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Listen to this for Payday 3. This is blowing my mind right now. So September 2023 peak 78,000. October 21,730. That's a 72% drop. November 76% drop. 5,177 peak players in November. Like it literally lost like 90% of its player base within 2 months, which
Yeah, this is a new game. It's not even a year old.
and people are going to be like, oh, that happens all the time. Like game sales are so front loaded. Not games like this. Not games like this.
It's multiplayer,
Like
man.
a multiplayer, games as a service, looter shooter, or whatever you want to call it. All of the above. Like these games don't die that fast typically. Like this is to
Yeah.
me just a sign of poor quality of first of all, and second of all, we've seen this. Feel like we've seen this, and maybe you guys agree, maybe you don't, but I feel like in the last 5-10 years we've seen this more than we ever have because there's been a lot of good video games in the last 15 years. Is like if a game comes out and it sucks way worse than it's the game before it in the series, people are going to straight up just play the old game. Like we've seen it with Battlefield, where a new Battlefield comes out. If people hate it, like I still see a lot of people playing the one before it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I'm sure like we saw it in the story. It's like people say, meh, Payday 3 sucks. I'm going to go back to Payday 2. It's a better game.
Yeah.
So
Let me check. Yeah, let me
yeah,
check.
now I
the
want to
Steam.
check. I was just
Yeah.
about to do the same thing. I'm like, now I want to
Whoa,
check
my
Payday 2
god.
players. Oh,
So
boy.
much higher.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. That's
26,000.
Exactly.
That's
Oh
crazy.
wow, that's way higher than I would have expected. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
See, and that's the thing. Like that's the beauty for us as consumers, and the negative for the studios is they have to bring their A game. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna just play the old game, dude. Like if it's better, I'm just gonna go play the other one. And I can only speak for myself. Like Overwatch 2 came out, I could not get into it at all, and in that case, obviously they overwrote Overwatch 1. So what happens is maybe me and some friends jump back and play Overwatch 1 for a bit. Nope, you overwrote it with Overwatch 2. So now we just straight up deleted the game off our consoles. So it's like, you could have at least roped us in a little bit. But yeah, I think this is just a complete tragedy, this Payday 3. So
Yeah. It makes sense with the Battlefield because that's what I do. Like there's a new Battlefield. Like I remember I played the beta for 2042. I'm like, bro, this shit sucks. I'm like, it's just so unfinished, buggy and stuff. And people still bought it for some reason. I don't know why. But like when I played the beta, I'm like, nah, this is not it. So I just went back to Battlefield 1 and it's like way better. And Battlefield
best
5
one,
too, even
I
though
think.
it's alright. Yeah, Battlefield 1's the best.
Love
There's
it.
still people playing it on Steam, like tens of thousands. So there's like a little
wild.
community on there. Yeah, make a good game. Starbreeze.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Good advice.
All right, let's get to the next one. This is kind of similar as well. Star Wars Battlefront Classic Collection. The launch is a disaster. This one was the most surprising to me because I was there for like launch day because I was in a party with one of my friends who was like excited for this. He's like, oh, I'm excited for Battlefront. Like, oh, I can't wait. He's like, he told me to buy it too. He's like, oh man, everybody, we gotta buy it. I'm like, nah, I think I'm gonna wait. And then a good thing I waited because I would have been pissed if I bought this. The Battlefront Classic Collection, which just launched a couple weeks ago, or oh man, I forgot. It's a disaster. Yeah, it's a disaster. When I was checking it out, when I was watching my friend play, like the controls were kind of weird and stiff, and like the server would always break down. We went to Battlefront 1, and there was only 3 servers for some reason. When I checked, I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" And we would try to play heroes only, so it was like Jedi only and stuff. And like the game would just crash like for no reason, like it just kick you out. I'm like, okay, and like we did that like 3 times. Every time we crashed, I was like, okay, what the fuck is going on? And then right now like everybody's pissed because like how the fuck do you mess this up? Like this is like old ass games. And what's also funny is that these games are like 60 gigabytes. These PS2 games, there's not even like remastered. They're like 60 gigabytes, or like it's like very high. It's like these are just like PS2 games, so these usually be like less than 10 gigs for some, and then it just goes up. One more thing before I kick it off to you guys. When we got in the game would just end like after like a minute or two. It just say victory, and it's like, bro, the game just started. It's like, what the fuck is going on? So yeah, this whole thing is a mess. I don't know if they still fixed it. I remember they put out like a message, Aspire. They put out like the developer message, like, hey, we're sorry. We'll try and fix it. So
sorry you paid money. Day one for our product. That's what I'm saying. They said.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't. My friend paid money. Good thing I didn't listen to him because, it was on discount too for PS Plus. So maybe that's why they're trying to get people.
So what did they all do to like? Did they change anything in this game, or was it literally just a port with just servers?
It's kind of both. So they ported the. It's a port, but they added like secrets like DLC or like some stuff that wasn't added in the original game. So they added like 2 new Jedis and like a couple new maps, but that's it. And they added like 64-player multiplayer, which I think was already on PC when that came out, but I don't remember because I was on the PS2 and I didn't have internet during that time.
I looked into
this game
because I was gonna say, Henry, to answer your question, I looked into this too, and I watched some gameplay video as well. Once it had come out, and like does not look a ton different. I mean, it looks better. Like I'm not trying to sit here and say like they didn't up-res it, but I'm saying like it's not like a modern remade graphics, right? Like it's clearly just like a port that they updated the graphics and added a little bit of content. I'm like, it is shocking to me that it released so poorly at launch. And I mean, we always say, like, sales are so heavily front loaded. I don't know why they don't realize like you cannot screw up the launch. Like that is when everybody's going to buy the game. That's when everybody's going to play the game. It's when all your word of mouth hits. Like 3 months from now, if you release an update, you've already lost. Honestly. Like, and it can be a little different with multiplayer games like this. And we do see stuff have like a second life all the time, but I'm just like, you have to get the launch right. And I know that's easier said than done, but like, this is such a disaster. And like the amount of people who have zero patience, because a lot of people that buy games are like, don't have, some people don't have the most time, or some people only play like 3 video games a year. So this is like one of the 3 they're going to buy. They boot this thing up. It doesn't work. Like they'll just straight up get rid of the game and go play Fortnite again. You know what I mean? Like you have to nail the launch. And that's just that's my 2 cents on this. It's just like, I cannot believe we see this multiple times a year where they like 3 servers. Really?
Yeah, that's crazy. 3 is insane. I mean, apparently 196 players was the max that those 3 servers could access. And there were 20,000 people on the game at launch. So like 99% of players could not play the game at all. Literally, more than 99% of players could not access the game at all. I agree with Cam completely. Like you have to the launch of the game specifically for these multiplayer titles because you need a community. If you scare away a community early on, I mean, like that stuff is so hard to build back up. It really is a lot of effort to try and give people a reason to come back to a product that not many people are talking about, or people had a bad experience about, or there's just not many people there in general. And I'm glad we're honestly talking about that specific angle of it, because I think it's something that a lot of people don't realize, and a lot of people don't even talk about, or kind of talk about in a kind of roundabout way or incorrect way. Is like, yeah, most game sales are really front loaded, and like you a lot of games do have a tail, but like really you're looking at a single player game. The vast majority of its sales are in literally the first day. Not even over the course of a year. The first day you sell the vast majority of your units, and then it trickles off from there. These multiplayer games, you are looking for a long-term sale tail of not going down. It will go down dramatically after day one or week 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever, but you still have to have a way more consistent slope than that with these multiplayer projects, because no player base is a dead multiplayer game. Nobody's going to play it anymore. Nobody's going to buy it. So I've seen clips and stuff from people showing how big of a train wreck this game was at release, and I'm always skeptical about those because people like to clip obviously the absolute worst examples of that. But I mean, Alexis, you're saying pretty much confirming the exact same stuff that I've been seeing, like joining a game and immediately winning. Like that's, I mean, this is just ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And I guess to put a nice cherry on top of this, Aspyr is obviously the team who did this game, or who remade the game and ported it. They've done, the old Knights of the Republic PC ports and a lot of other Star Wars games. They're a very big port house, especially when it comes to Star Wars. Guess who owns Aspyr?
I don't know.
Embracer. Embracer owns Aspyr. So this is the third story in a row of some horrific train wreck under the Embracer umbrella. So I just thought I would want to end it off on that.
That's really funny. The only other thing I have to add about this game, I will say I'll give them a little bit of credit here. I just looked up the patch notes for their most recent patch. Well, really their only patch so far. They're pretty beefy patch notes. So they did a lot. So, which I mean,
they are
on the flip side,
known for
they
that.
had a lot to fix. But yeah, they had some beefy patch notes. So maybe the game's a little cleaner. But I will say, internet's never a good place to source comments from. But I am highly amused at some of these comments because they are not very happy with the game. I'll put it like that. So.
No doubt.
It was like $35.
It was 35.
Some old ass games. That should have been like 25 at least. You said that they made it look better. I saw a comparison. It's like it looked the same.
It looks really similar when I looked at gameplay. Yeah, but I'm sure they said they did a texture re-up or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, so
it looks very
what
similar.
happens with that, Alexis, to answer you, because I've been called out on this before by a friend of mine, and obviously he was kind of joking, but it's like the polygons themselves, right? Like the outlines of the shapes probably look cleaner, and the colors are probably a little brighter, right? Like it's very minor changes. But even then, it's like, it's for all intents and purposes basically the same game. The main thing with that is like, for it to take a while to develop and then still come out to be completely poor when you're not doing a ton always blows my mind. It's like you didn't even really have that much to do, and you still just completely botched it. So it's rough.
Three servers. 3.
That was for the first Battlefront, because we checked both of them. I think Battlefront 2 had like a lot of servers. Just the first game just had 3 servers. And
really?
Yeah.
I'm glad you corrected me on that then, because people are throwing it out there. The whole collection only had 3. That's what it makes it sound like. So
it was the first game.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would think more people would want to go back and play 2 anyway.
Yeah.
So that it makes sense to me they'd put more servers there.
Yeah.
But yeah, a little bit of misinformation. But I'm glad you corrected that.
Yeah, to clear that up.
Sure.
Yeah. There was also like a lot of lag issues. So like when my friend was playing, like he was just lagging all over the place. I'm like, what the hell? So it's just like, it's a whole fucking mess. So hopefully that patch that you mentioned fixes a lot of stuff. And I'll tell my friend, like, get back on and see how it goes for him. All right, let's get to the next one. This is the one I added. It just happened like last week. There was an Apex Legends Global Series tournament. That's how you know how big this thing is. It just got postponed after the pros were hacked mid-game. And this is crazy because they're like in their own private server and somehow they were hacked. And like the whole lobby is full of pro players and stuff. It happened to one guy, and then people were accusing him, hey, why are you cheating? Why are you cheating? And then because he started getting like wall hacks so he could see like anybody on the map. He's also got like aimbot. And then like mid-game, like a cheating engine or a mod menu popped up, and it's like it showed like different hacks and stuff. And then the cheater was typing in the chat in the game so like everybody can see, which was crazy. I was like, what the hell is going on? And then I think later, for some reason, they didn't postpone it after that. I don't know why. They just said, oh, like, this fucking, it's like a small issue. Let's continue. And then that happened to another guy, Imperial Hal. He's like one of the best Apex Legends players, like the most viewed on Twitch for Apex. It happened to him in game. He started getting aimbot. Like he was getting like aimbot across the map. He started feeling it, and so it's like he's like, oh, I got aimbot. And his teammates are screaming, leave, what the fuck are you doing? It's like, it's intense. Like these competitive games are intense as hell. So yeah, this was wild to see. It's like I never seen this before, and then you just see, I mean, these servers are just ran on potatoes, because when I play Apex, like, damn, the sound, like, not even mentioning like the sound, like it's kind of hard to hear footsteps. It's like you don't hear footsteps unless they're like right close to you, so like sometimes you just die by a whole team like instantly, which is like one of the reasons I just stopped playing the game. Like, man, this server is old. Like they don't want to upgrade, and then now they're just getting exposed on the front stage for everybody to see. Yeah, have you guys played Apex? I don't know if you guys are like interested or have any of competitive games at all. This was like very, very interesting.
Yeah, I haven't played much Apex myself, but this was really interesting to me because I do casually like watch some competitive games here and there. Worlds for League of Legends, I do like watching. It's pretty high production value. So I will say we talked about this a little bit pre-podcast, and I was telling you guys, I'm really surprised this happened. I am a little less surprised the more I thought about this, and also I had pulled up one of the videos since our conversation before the podcast. I didn't realize they're playing from home.
Yeah.
When I initially saw this, because I initially saw the in-game video, I didn't see anybody's camera. And so I was like, how is this happening? Like, what the hell? So a lot of tournaments for really any video game, frankly, are obviously held like on God, what's the word for it? I'm completely blanking. They do it at the venue, right? And they just basically hook up the machines to each other essentially, like, and then directly to the internet. So like you have pretty much a closed connection on stage, right? For basically every big competitive game. So I'm like, LAN, thank you, God. The fact that I could not remember that is hilarious. Seeing that they were playing from home, it kind of did warp my opinion on it a little bit. I could definitely see this being a lot more likely with that being the case, but God, it's still absolutely ridiculous that like at the quote highest level of a server that they still can't lock down the server. That's pretty ridiculous. Something else that cracked me up about this story, Alexis, when we were talking about it earlier, was that the hackers were helping the players. Like you would think they would be like hacking them to like black out their vision or like, you know what I mean? Screw with them, like throw a building like in the middle of their view or something. But no, they literally just gave them like a better performance. It's kind of hilarious actually. So that did amuse me quite a bit because usually you see hackers like doing negative things like, you know, posting racist shit or like, I don't know, you know, like I said, like throwing a black screen on the thing or straight up shutting the game down. Like sometimes they'll just straight up like DDoS the server. And I'm like, well, these guys are just, trying to give him aimbot, I guess. but pretty funny. I mean, from what videos I watched of this guy, he doesn't need aimbot, but dude is ridiculous. But yeah, it was pretty funny little story. Obviously, don't do that, but you can kind of see.
We do not endorse that.
Yeah.
He put his name too. His name is like Destroyer 2009.
Yeah.
He's like, follow me. I'm like, bro, you're gonna get arrested.
God, it reminds me of that kid at the Game Awards that like went on the stage. Oh my God, it reminds me of that.
Yeah, I was fun side story. I was actually at that Game Awards.
No way.
You were there? Wait, how?
Yeah, I was there.
How much were the tickets?
Tight, man.
Flew out to LA and got a ticket. Yeah. But I just thought it'd be fun. And it was, how much were tickets? I think they were like $100, something like that.
Bad.
I was sitting on the same row as like Greg Miller from Kinda Funny / IGN. Like there was a lot of big names there in the gaming industry. But anyways, it was funny because I saw everything you guys saw, obviously. Like he walked up there and like the mic was kind of cut out, and then like they turned it back on when he started talking, and we were like, what the heck is he saying? We really couldn't hear him that well, but we knew he was speaking something that he should not be saying. I think we made out Bill Clinton, and that was like the most the audience could really hear. But it was funny because like they walked him, security, I don't think this showed on the live stream, which is why I bring it up. But security walked out, like 2 huge bodyguards walked out there, grabbed him, pulled him off to the side of the stage, and like yanked him up and like forced him against a wall, like by his neck, like putting their forearm up against his neck. And I was like, oh dang, that guy's definitely not supposed to be here. Whoever that guy is, he's not supposed to be here at all. But yeah, I think afterwards he was like arrested or given a restraining order or something like that. I can't remember exactly what they did. But anyway, that's just a fun aside. I thought I'd bring that up since that was mentioned. But yeah, anyway, back to Apex. So I did not know about this before the podcast. I don't really follow Apex or the esports community at all. I do find esports interesting from like a kind of just to kind of watch it from afar. It's interesting because like I remember a few years ago somebody was like, oh yeah, some more people watched like the League of Legends championship than the NBA finals or something like that. There was some statistic like that floating out there, and it I don't know. It may be accurate. That may be accurate, but it's interesting to see that. Like, I think that esports, at least I did think that esports has a future. Looking at it now, a lot of esports companies are going under. Like a lot of those professional teams, which is really surprising to me. I just assumed video games are the biggest entertainment medium on the planet, and you think that sports are pretty big too, so you combine the two and you have a surefire hit. And it seems like that's not the case anymore. A lot of people have been dumping a lot of money into esports, and it's not really paying off for them. But I don't have a huge interest in sports, and I don't have a huge interest in esports either, unfortunately. I was hoping esports would be that thing that would get me into sports, and it really hasn't because I just don't play multiplayer games that much. But I have played Apex. I have a friend that enjoys playing Apex with me, and we get on every once in a while, and I suck. We both suck at it. So hearing footsteps is a non-issue. We will just die anyway. It doesn't matter if we hear them or not. But I did find the clip very funny, looking at the clip. Unfortunately, probably like the highlight of this guy's life or whatever, playing in this championship, and then he gets hacked, and they have to postpone the whole thing. So it sucks to be those guys. Anybody pretty much playing in there, sucks to be them. I will follow up with Cam. I have a master's in cybersecurity. It is definitely odd to see that these guys were playing LAN at all, or not playing LAN at all. Like playing over the internet is a way easier way to get yourself hacked, especially when you're on like a big stage in front of thousands of people. You're just a big target. Yeah. It's no surprise. I'm used to seeing, obviously, like Cam was saying, these huge arenas that get packed out for League of Legends or Valorant or basically any game Riot makes, and everybody gets in there and cheers, and it's a LAN connection. There's no way to get in on that unless you're like physically in the building, which is obviously going to be way harder. So it's probably just because Apex is just a smaller It's not as big as something like a League or a Riot or like anything Riot makes. So, they probably just don't have. It's not worth it to get a stadium and do a LAN thing. But you'd think they could get somebody's basement, somebody's mom's garage or something like that, and put it all together. I don't know. It's probably not even worth it for that to fly them all out there. But it still is. It's still funny to see, and it's still, it hopefully will improve Apex's security / hacking measures in the future, because clearly it's under par.
Yeah, for this tournament is like a couple rounds, and it's like everyone from around the world. So like this one you had like people from America, Europe, and stuff. So this was like, I think this is like the North American series, so people are just playing North America all across. And then this is like it's a couple rounds. So like in the first couple rounds, like before the finals is where they actually do like the LAN tournament, where they actually everybody goes in together and they all play in the same like place. But for this is like it's the same money. Yes, cost cutting measure, because it'd be expensive. Because I know Apex is huge like in Asia, like in Japan, China, South Korea is like really huge over there. So especially Japan, I think is like more popular than Fortnite, which is crazy. Yeah, that's it for Apex. So get your shit together. I'm getting pissed of Apex. My friend always wants to play it. I'll talk about it later, but he's like, hop on Apex. I'm like, hey, all right. It's like my mental goes insane. So let's go to the next one. PlayStation, Sony, they have paused production of the PSVR 2 1 year after the release, which is insane, because we still got some VR games coming out. This was stopped due to an overstock of unsold units that need to be sold, which makes sense because it's expensive, because you also need the PS5, so it's like $1,000 just to get like both of them. Not even counting the games you also have to buy. And so far they've only produced Horizon Call of the Mountain and Firewall Ultra, so not that many first party games from them. I think a really huge one that they could really incentivize people to buy the PSVR 2 is like a Spider-Man game. I think a Spider-Man VR game would just be insane, but I think it would be very expensive to make, and like it wouldn't look as good as Spider-Man 2. But I've seen some VR games that have people like they play in the MetaQuest, like with them like swinging around as Spider-Man. It's like, oh, this is cool as hell. And right now, there's no reason to get a VR 2, because for some reason there's no backwards compatibility with the VR 1. So you're gonna be missing out on like a lot of VR 1 games. Like Resident Evil. What was it? Astrobot, Resident Evil 7. I think 8 as well was PSVR 1, which sucks because I think those two games are like perfect for the VR. You also had some other ones. Not really too in tune with the PSVR. With the PSVR 2, I it's like I want one, but I just don't want to like fork over the money for it. It's like fucking $450. I think when it gets cheaper, I think I would get into it, because I think there's a lot of cool stuff on there, like Gran Turismo and RE4, and also like some other games as well. I think Legendary Tales, we were talking about it. I think that looks cool as hell, and as well as Metro later down the year. Does any of you guys have the VR or any like VR system at all?
Yeah, I had PSVR 1.
Okay, you want to talk about it? Like, what do you think about this?
I will talk about this, Alexis.
Haven't you got a PSVR 2? You got a PSVR 1.
I had a PSVR 1. I did not want a PSVR 2 because of aforementioned reasons. And it's very frustrating to me too, because I'm a very big VR/AR, maybe not AR as much. I think there's potential there, but VR definitely advocate. I think that eventually that's kind of where we're going to want to be. Like, why wouldn't you want to put on a headset and just live in another world? That's like kind of the dream right now, is video games are kind of escapism for a lot of people, and that's like the ultimate escapism, is being there, physically almost, or tricking your brain into thinking that you're there physically. PSVR 2 has been, unfortunately, a pretty big bumble so far. Like you mentioned, there hasn't been a lot to bring you in. Like, that's really what's going to pull people into these devices, is exclusive software. And right now, they have Horizon and they have Firewall Ultra, which I think the original Firewall was fairly successful. It's like almost like a SOCOM-esque first-person shooter for VR that was originally on the PlayStation VR 1, and Firewall Ultra was like the sequel. And then obviously Horizon Call of the Mountain is, a spin-off from the Horizon series. And they've also had those tie-ins, like Resident Evil 8 was on PSVR 2, and Gran Turismo has a really popular VR mode that are exclusive to the PlayStation VR 2. But for the most part, those aren't like really big system sellers. Nobody really thought the Horizon game was that great. Firewall may have a very passionate base, but it's not a very big one. And then, I think racing fans aren't necessarily hardcore enough to really want to invest in a VR. Well, I take that back, because they're the guys who have like those like racing rigs almost. A lot of racing sim guys like that kind of stuff. So maybe that could bring in some people. But again, that's like the hardcore of the hardcore. But at the end of the day, like, you need that software, because like this thing is $550. Like, you have $450, it's $550. Yeah, and that's on top of a $500 PlayStation 5, which you obviously need, like you were saying, as an entryway. You have to have that first, and then you can pay another $550 to get in. So the price was already inaccessible. Nobody was going to want to pay that, and even worse, you have, and I think like the biggest problem here is you have way better competitors. I don't know what you guys know about like Facebook's like MetaQuest device, MetaQuest 2 and 3, but they're far cheaper. I know at least 2 is far cheaper. I think 3 is a little bit more higher price point. I think it's got a lot more features though. But 2 is more comparable to the PSVR 2. And it's far cheaper, and it has the ability, you don't have to have a PlayStation 5. You don't have to be required to hook up a cord to anything. It's free-flowing, so you can walk anywhere with it. You can attach it to your PC or hook it up to your PC, and you can play all games that are on PC. So if you wanted to play like Half-Life Alyx on Steam, you can use your MetaQuest 2 to do that. And then they also have exclusive titles for VR on the MetaQuest that are also pretty well regarded as well. So like when you compare the two, what is the incentive to get this PlayStation VR 2? There's just not one. There's not a really good excuse, and it sucks because PlayStation VR 1 was the highest selling VR unit ever in comparison to all other competitors at the time.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. And so this is a really big downfall for them. I really was hoping that, because Facebook is trying to push VR in terms of a business model. Gaming is how they're kind of introducing people to it, but eventually they want you to be able to put on your VR headset and be sitting in tickets for like an NBA game, or go to see your doctor virtually through a VR headset or something like that. So gaming is not really the focus for Facebook. Obviously, gaming is the focus for PlayStation, and that's what I would like to see moving forward, kind of elevate itself or be higher. That's my hobby. That's my passion, is gaming. So I want to see that, be successful. And PlayStation's really the people that are going to do that. And if they don't succeed at this, then I think it's less likely to see that be a huge staple of VR moving forward. Or at least for a while. I think it'll eventually come back, but it just seems like with these horrible sales, we're just not at that point yet where VR is making its way into the mainstream. And if it is through like a MetaQuest or something, like PSVR didn't give people enough for what they were offering for the price and all that other stuff that, obviously MetaQuest is. So I know I said a lot there. Cam, what do you think about this?
Yeah, no, you said some really great stuff, and frankly, honestly, I agree with a lot of what you said too, and you said a lot of it, things that I feel the same way. And I think it really all comes back to what you said earlier, which is, what reason do I have, as somebody who's never owned a VR system myself, what reason do I have to buy PSVR 2 over any other VR? There's literally no incentive, because they've only released a few games on it. First of all, that alone kills it for me. It's like, what am I not able to play on my PS5 that the VR is going to allow me to play? Oh, these games? And I look at the list, right, of what's on PSVR 2, and I'm like, I can go without these for the price of a PS5. You know what I mean? It's like, I can go without these. Like, you can't get people to buy a system in gaming, period. You can't get people to buy a system if there's nothing to play on it. And you damn sure can't get people to buy a system if they could spend the same amount of money and get a system with way better games on it. And I know, like, you know, one of the biggest counters to that argument is like the audiences don't always overlap with this kind of thing, right? Like, so some people might be more interested in a VR system that aren't interested in maybe, say, a Switch or a PS5. But I mean, my rebuttal to that is like, sure, maybe that is a percentage of people. It's definitely not a percentage high enough to make this worth it. I can tell you that right now, clearly, because the sales aren't doing very well. So, I mean, it really, to me, like I said, I don't want to just retread over what you were talking about, but I think it really, to me, boils down to what games are on these VR systems that, you know, whether it's PSVR 2, whether it's Oculus, like, what games can I play on them? I need a compelling list of games. Like, and if I don't have that, I'm not going to buy it. And to be honest with both of you guys, I actually really wanted PSVR 2 because I was like, I've never had a VR system. This is really cool. It can just integrate with my PS5. Super easy. I like ease when it comes to video games. It's why I mostly play console. And it's like kind of a bummer to see the games that are on PSVR 2. It's like there's not anything compelling. Like, you know, when one of my, like, I guess most looked forward to games were I to own one of these would be like a game that's already out that's ported to VR. You know what I mean? Like, I'd be like, oh, I want to play Resident Evil on this thing because that's the best thing that I like that's on VR. Like, that's just not a good enough reason for me to get one personally. But yeah, that's kind of my feelings on the whole VR situation. Not surprising.
How low would it have to go for you to buy one, the PSVR 2?
Ooh, that's a good question.
This is a really good question.
I'd say at least 300.
300, okay.
Let me ask you this. Are you saying with the current list of games that are on it?
Yeah, right now.
With the current list of games, yeah.
Yeah, right now.
Literally, they would have to take such a big loss because I would say 250 is the number that jumped to my mind. And it's like they're not going to sell for 250, but
yeah,
it's
no
like,
shot.
Yeah, there's no way.
They saw the Portal for 200. That's why I was like, it'll be a while before we see like a price decrease for the second one. And it sucks because I really want one.
Yeah, I mean, I know this is easier said than done, but like, I'll give you an example right now. Say there's a decently good Final Fantasy game and a decently good Last of Us game, even if it's a spinoff, that are on it. I would pay 300. I would need maybe a little bit more than that to go higher, but I think, and this is the big thing, Alexis, like if those two games that I mentioned, which this is not going to happen, just to be clear, people, I'm not predicting anything, but if those two games I just mentioned, say, did come out, and I'm sitting here saying I'd pay 300, I probably would pay MSRP if those two games came out, and I'll tell you why, because that would suggest to me, oh, they're actually investing into this thing, and they want to make good games for it. You know what I mean? It'd be like a green light. But as it is now, I'm like, it's not only that the list of games on it are weak, as I was saying a few minutes ago. It's like there's no indication, and in fact, now signs of the opposite that they're like investing a lot into this thing. So it's like, totally. I mean, what is the like compelling reason to get it when you have a current list that's weak and your future list is not going to be much better? That's what it boils down to.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said the same thing back. I was deemed a very angry person when we talked about the PS Direct a few weeks ago, and you know, I was like, well, you know, they said they were going to be PSVR 2 news in here, and they showed off two games, and they weren't even exclusive to the device, and I was like, what is going on here? You know, like this, we need way more support for this device, and yeah, I completely agree with Cam there. Like it looks like, I mean, it has looked like for a long time that this device was dead in the water, almost after launch. People were like, oh yeah, like this is probably not going to last very long. And then now we're seeing, I mean, where's the forecast for this thing? I mean, I don't even know what games Sony is planning to release for its main console, the PlayStation 5, yet alone its dinky, not performing as expected, you know, offshoot device, you know. So It really does. I mean, as the days go longer, it looks like less and less is probably going to happen with the PlayStation VR 2, and probably less people will want to buy it because of that. So it's just a self-fulfilling prophecy at this point, which is unfortunate.
Yep. And for the VR2, like it would sell a lot more if it was just cheaper, but then you got to take like a loss at that point, so it's like it's even worth it. And this happened with the Vita as well, where like you had the PS3 and the PS Vita, you also had the PS4 and the PS Vita. So then like you're hamstringing yourself to like two different platforms, and like they made different games, and then there were some games that was compatible with the Vita and like the PS4, PS3, but it was like very rare. And like for the PSVR too, it's just like do developers even want to develop for it, because it's expensive, and then you also like not a lot of people are on it. So I mean, yeah, it's a whole thing with this VR2. But if I could get one for cheap, I'm down for it. It's just the price. I think the price is the main thing. I say eBay.
Oh yeah,
eBay. It's like I see some for like $350, but it's like it's just it doesn't come with the box, and it's used as well. So like it's the price you pay. So yeah, that's it for PSVR 2. Hopefully for a comeback with some new games for it. Let's get into the next one. Tim Sweeney, who is the Epic Games CEO, he calls out Valve executives. He calls them assholes. What the hell? In a direct email over their Steam platform fees. And then their chief operating officer of Valve says, "You mad, bro?" This is hilarious, because fucking Steam is just funny, because Steam is just like, oh, okay, like if you want to put your game on our platform, you're gonna have to pay these fees. And there's this whole thing with like Epic is like they just hate paying for like fees. Like there was that whole thing with Apple where they didn't want to pay 30% for like their games on like the App Store, so they just left, and there's like this whole court case and shit. It was like, damn, like I remember there's like a Fortnite there's like an Apple skin that you can get. It's like, help support Epic to stop Apple with these fees and stuff. I was like, oh shit, what the fuck? But
they made a big deal about it.
Yeah, it was like this whole big deal. And then they put their money where their mouth is. On Epic Games, if you put your game on there, there's a 12% split. So like 88% of it goes to developer and 12% goes to Epic Games. So it's a little more friendly, but I don't really see anybody using Epic Games, their storefront. And I guess that's why you see like games get exclusive on there, like Alan Wake, Kingdom Hearts, and then Final Fantasy VII Remake was exclusive on there for like a year. A lot of people got mad over that, which is funny. And Valve, they've recently updated their revenue split, so it's up to $10 million. You pay 25% to Steam, and then beyond $50 million, it goes to 20%. So it's a little better. It's not that bad. I don't know, because Steam is like a huge platform. It's like people all over the world. So like you do have to pay, like it's not even that much. Like I don't know why Epic Games and Tim Sweeney is making a big deal about it. I guess they just want to control like the platform. They want all the money, even though they make a lot of money with Fortnite, which is like their own saving grace for Epic Games Store.
Yeah, I was gonna jump in for a second and say, so I did a lot of digging when I saw this headline on our planning, and like Sweeney has a really long history of calling people out publicly. Like he actually does this really often. And a small correction, because this fooled me too. So they didn't respond directly to him with "you mad, bro." They actually forwarded it internally among Valve, like a couple Valve employees, like Gabe Newell and then like two other people. They like forwarded it to each other and were laughing about Tim Sweeney's email. So like they didn't necessarily respond directly to him. So it does make it like a little bit less spicy, I would say, but it is still pretty hilarious. And this came out like during the court case. Is kind of funny. So it's a very amusing headline to me. But yeah, he has like a little bit of a history of this. And I know, the first thing people are going to say, which I think that it's kind of the natural thing to assume, is like he has a vested interest in making like Valve look bad. He directly competes with them. You know what I mean? So it's like he runs the Epic Games Store. He's trying to grow that to, compete with Steam on a higher level than it is right now, because as we know, Steam is just massive still in the PC space. But he has a vested interest in competing with them. But honestly, I kind of like this particular example, I would say, because the more I dug into this, the more I saw like the basis of his argument was essentially, by the time that especially smaller studios pay for marketing, pay for employees, pay for development cost, and then on top of that pay the Valve Steam fee, like their margin is extremely thin. Whereas if, Valve was willing to concede a little bit of that percentage, then maybe people would be making, people would be making more money. Now, here's the thing, right? Like, these things are always tricky because, like, of course he's saying that, again, because he's competing with them. And there is a facet of this that he's probably pandering to the public, I'm sure. He knew that was probably a smart move. But honestly, kind of doesn't bug me that much because he's kind of in the right. Like, I think that the split that Steam takes is huge because they can. And I can't fault them for that. Like, they have such a stranglehold on the PC market. They're going to take a huge cut. But it's also, like, pretty sad to read about, like, how much of a margin that is when you take into account all the other costs. So, like, the indie dev lover side of me is like, oh, man, like, yeah, go Tim Sweeney. And then the more cynical side of me is like, he's doing this for ulterior motives to a certain extent. But at the end of the day, I think, it's an overall good message. And I would love to see that fee come down a little bit because it is pretty steep. So,
yeah, I'll say you hit on a lot of what exactly I was going to look. Cam, you and I, we're simpatico, man. We are in sync. We got a lot of the same thoughts here. So I put this on the dock because I saw this headline floating around a week or two ago, something like that. And I was like, oh, man, Epic they're just such bad guys, man. They're just calling people names for no reason, just out of the blue. Can't believe this. And then Valve, they're so cool. They're hip with the internet. You mad, bro? I've seen that on a forum before. That's crazy. I love Valve. And then I looked into it and I was like, oh, no, like, Epic they kind of have a point, and like Valve they are kind of being kind of mean to people by taking all their money. Like, I don't know about this. So like it was really weird to see this be touted around as like, oh, isn't Valve so cool? And like, you kind of mentioned, like, there's a little bit of misinformation there. Like, Valve did not just send that email back to Tim Sweeney and say like, hey, yeah, like that would be a very unprofessional email for sure. But there's a lot that goes into this. As Alexis was talking about, like the court case, with Apple a few years back, Epic is trying to weasel their way into a massive portion of the market, trying to try to have their own marketplace. So for those that don't know, Epic Games Store and Steam are like kind of the two PC marketplaces where you go and you buy games. And Epic has tried very, very hard to worm their way into that space because Steam really does have a lockdown on it. And so they've done a great marketing split with developers. So almost every other platform, you have to give 30% of your cut, like, just for being on that marketplace. So if you sell an app on the App Store for Apple, you have to give Apple 30%. If you sell a game or even like a microtransaction on Steam or PlayStation or Xbox, you have to give them 30% too. And so like Epic said, okay, we'll do 12. So a developer gets to keep, more than half of that cut at this point. They get to go back to them. So it's very developer friendly. They've also tried to grab exclusive deals with big games. So like Borderlands 3 was a huge one. It launched exclusively on the Epic Games Store. You could only get it there for a certain amount of time. And, PC players have been really upset about that because they are so entrenched in the Steam ecosystem that they don't like having to go somewhere else. They want everything to be on one platform, which I totally get. But at the same time, like, yeah, Valve should probably hand a little bit more of that over. Like, if we have somebody who's coming in and saying, hey, like, we can give more money to these developers, and you're right, Cam, it is a lot. I mean, like, I got to give 25% of my paycheck to the government every month, and I'm not too happy about it. Like 30%, yeah, I wouldn't be happy with that either. So like it's a huge hit. Mm-hmm. And it would really help these developers to have it go down a lot. And these platforms aren't necessarily doing a whole lot for these developers outside of just giving them a marketplace to sell it in.
Yep.
So it is, but at the same time, you're right. This is 100% posturing by Epic Games to get some goodwill and to hurt their competitors and, get more people over onto their platform. And, I can't say I'm upset about it, though. Like, even if it is a selfish move inherently, it technically helps out more people than just Epic. So it does more good than bad. So it is really this weird situation where it's a good thing, but at the same time kind of a scummy way of doing it. It's just business, though, at the end of the day. But I thought it was just interesting. I just wanted to bring some light to like the whole misinformation surrounding this entire thing. It also wasn't just like obviously a fall out of the sky kind of comment. It was happening. This was Valve is being sued by another company right now for I can't remember reasons. It's a much smaller developer, but as part of that discovery, their emails became public, and so that just became public, and so that's why it just all of a sudden came out of nowhere. So like it's not like Epic is constantly harassing Valve, just because they aren't doing what they want. So anyway, I thought that was an interesting story. Alexis, do you have anything else to add on this?
Yeah, I have some closing thoughts. I don't know if you guys remember, like, there's a lot of like publishers and like developers, like they'll make like their own engine. No, not the engine. How do you call that? Like their own front store.
Storefront.
I think so. It's like Ubisoft has their launcher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like Ubisoft had one, Rockstar had one, and then there's a couple other, but there's a lot of them that they're like, fuck Steam, let's just do our own thing. And then I guess like people aren't really using those like launchers, or they hate using it. So like I guess a lot of them companies are just like, fuck it, let's just go on Steam and we'll just take the cut. I mean, it's not even that much. Is it like 20%? Because it says 20%, but like PSN Store and like Xbox and Nintendo as well, I think they all take 30%, which is like
they
more,
do, yeah.
It's more egregious, and you don't see any.
Valve used to be 30, but they just knocked it down because of the Epic lawsuit.
Yeah.
So they're trying to get ahead of it.
Yeah, it's like Steam is like, they're not like you shouldn't be like you shouldn't go for like a company, like rooting for a company, but like I think Steam is like the most like friendly, like out of all of them.
I was also gonna just jump in and mention too that, because I know, well, if people care enough to send us in corrections, they would probably correct this, but the way Steam does it also is on like a tier system. So the higher your sales are, the lower the cut they take. Okay. So like basically if you have like a mega hit like Among Us, by the time you get to those level of sales, Steam is going to stop taking as big of a cut, which like to me, my own personal opinion, that's counterintuitive, because like the more you make, the more you don't need the big cut, you know what I mean, to a certain extent. So it's kind of funny, but like, that is how they do it. I just wanted to toss that in there. So go ahead, Alexis.
Yeah. And then you also have like the engine, and Epic Games, they have Unreal Engine, which is like a lot of games use that now. And then you see like Persona, they had their own engine, and then like, fuck it, let's just use Unreal Engine for the remake. So yeah, I think Epic Games is doing fine. I guess they just want more money. So
they definitely want more money.
Yeah,
I can guarantee you that.
Nothing wrong with that. Let's get into this next one from the VGC. Dragon's Dogma 2 hit with the controversy in a review bomb on Steam after players find 21 microtransactions that were added to the game when it launched. And this wasn't found in the game, like with all the reviews, which is dumb because the first Dragon's Dogma also had the same microtransactions, so it was kind of expected. But, they weren't announced. Hideaki Tsuno, he never talked about these microtransactions, so the people got mad, which is fair. And then Steam reviews, right now they're hovering around 50%. I checked, so it's mixed. But before it was like very negative.
Yeah, it was very low.
Yeah, it was just for like the microtransactions and even the performance. I heard like the performance on PC was bad. It's funny because a lot of people were like, I'm gonna get it on PC so I can get 60 FPS or something like that, and then it turns out the PS5 version is probably the best one, or the console version is the best one.
Happens all the time.
Yeah. And then this is funny because like I think people the first Dragon's Dogma had like the same, or like Capcom games in general just have like a lot of microtransactions in their single player games. Like Monster Hunter World, like there's a lot of like skins you can buy in that game, and then you also have like character edits, which is dumb as hell. Like you don't have to pay money. You shouldn't have to pay money to like edit your character. Resident Evil 4 had a lot of them where it's like, hey, give us like $10 and you get like unlimited ammo and RPG launcher.
Yeah.
And people do that for like trophies and stuff, which is fine. And then I just found it surprising how people were surprised with this. And the game is I've seen people say it's a fun game. So I guess it's just the microtransactions and everything else that people are pissed about. I mean, it's selling a lot though, I bet, because it's like top 3 on Steam right now. And like even on PSN store, it's like top 10 in the US, right behind MLB, which is crazy. So it's a huge success for Dragon's Dogma 2. I didn't expect this. And any of you guys are like interested in this, or like did you guys know about Capcom and all their microtransactions and stuff?
Cam, I'll let you take it.
Yeah, I was gonna jump in and say this is kind of a interesting story. First of all, because I think when I first read this headline, right, my initial thought was, man, one of my biggest pet peeves in the gaming industry is when reviewers review a different game than comes out to the public. Because I'm it's like you if you make a game and then you send out review copies and then you add a bunch of stuff day one that wasn't in the review copies, like that to me is pretty scummy. And like we've seen companies doing that, and it's very frustrating to me because I don't know about you guys, I'm actually not huge on reading reviews. Like I'll look at a score, but I don't actually like dive deep and read reviews. It's just not something I've ever really like been that compelled to do. I feel like I've been playing video games for so long that I kind of just generally know what I like. And so if I see a game, oh, that's cool. Like, it's a 65. Okay, well, I'll probably skip it. Or maybe like watch a video or something. You know what I mean? So something like that. But what I was going to say is that's one of my biggest pet peeves, right? Don't make a game and then on day one add, a really annoying prologue mission that lasts 5 hours and reviewers didn't know about, or something like that. That's just an exaggerated example. However, and the tide kind of changed with me the more I dug into this one, because it doesn't seem like that's really what they did, because something specifically that Capcom kind of rebutted with was, no, we told a lot of reviewers, or really every reviewer they claim, but it's like we told reviewers that we were going to add microtransactions on release.
I see that.
And I guess the reviewers just didn't mention it, which I'm like, okay, that's kind of odd. But, honestly, we've talked circles around, I think, like monetization in games. And I know we've talked about microtransactions before, but it's an always prevalent topic in this space. And I personally, I'll be honest, it's kind of a controversial take sometimes with some areas of the gaming community. I don't really have that much of a problem with microtransactions simply because I just ignore them. So like, to me, they don't really hurt anything. Now, what I will say, I do have a couple problems with them. One I would say is like games that target kids and then like don't put parental locks on them to where kids can just rack up a bill. Like that is pretty scummy to me. And then probably the other thing I would say that kind of bugs me with microtransactions is if they were like actively prohibiting the game. I know Let It Die is like one of the biggest examples I think of from like years ago, where if you didn't do the microtransactions, you had to grind the shit out of that game. And so like that is the type of stuff I don't care for. But other than that, I'm like, I'm okay with them. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm definitely not going to review bomb a game if they have microtransactions. And like, even with this, it's like, I was kind of of two minds, and now I'm sort of just like, okay, Review bombing it because they added microtransactions day one, like, just don't buy the microtransactions. I don't understand why it's that big of a deal. And I'm actually seeing, the more I read about this over time, the last few days, I was seeing that a lot of these microtransactions you can just get in the game pretty easily. And those to me are the least offensive kind. It's like, okay, I'll just play the game and get them. I don't know. That's just my take. Like I said, some people heavily disagree with that, as evidenced by a 50% on Steam, but I personally feel that way.
Yeah, PC crowd is hard to please. They're very harsh on their reviews.
Yep. Fully agree with that.
They weaponize their reviews a lot too, as evidence here. I mean, they'll just review bomb a game just because there's a woman in it or something. Sometimes you never know. But it's a very interesting story, and that's why I really liked hearing Cam's take on it, because this has its supporters and it doesn't have its supporters. This is kind of a really middle-of-the-line story for a lot of people, and that's what makes it so interesting, is a lot of people are looking at this and they're like, this is the devil. How dare you put microtransactions in my game? And then there's people who are like, what is wrong with this? Like, there's nothing out of the ordinary here. It's totally, unoffensive. Have you ever seen a game before? They have microtransactions, and these aren't, like, crazy. And I kind of fall in the middle on that. I don't like microtransactions. I would prefer you just give it to me when I pay the $60, $70 price tag, right? Like, I don't want to have to pay extra stuff ever. So, like, inherently, I'm going to be against it. But it seems like that is just the model we have forced ourselves into at this point. We have told companies it's okay to put microtransactions in these games, and therefore, they're going to keep doing it. In this instance, I think it is one of those times where I'm like, yeah, this is... have you played a game before? Like, this is kind of okay. Like, this, I understand people don't want microtransactions in their games, but I also, the vast majority of them, I feel like, have, especially big ones, have microtransactions now for whatever reason. Capcom is known for putting these things into their games. Apparently, the last one had microtransactions. I honestly didn't even remember that. And, Cam, you were saying, apparently reviewers even knew beforehand. I think it's honestly, if I was a reviewer and they told me, here are the microtransactions, this is what's going to be in it, I'd say, okay, yeah, nobody's going to care about that. This is something that's happened a million times before, and I wouldn't add that. I wouldn't take that off on my review at all. I think, this is an interesting one for people to push back so hard on, this deep into being consumed by microtransactions. In-game stuff. See, the thing about it is like, I'm also with Cam. Like, I typically just ignore microtransactions. Most of the time when I see a microtransaction, it's an in-game currency that I can typically earn in-game. But the thing is like, most of those in-game currencies are intentionally designed so that they will pressure the gamer to want to buy them. It's very unlikely that those microtransactions were developed without that intent. When you see a V-Buck or something like that, like, yeah, you can earn V-Bucks in game if you have a season pass or whatever, and you can just buy season passes over and over and over again, and then buy skins eventually. But like, it's intentionally supposed to be grindy to a point where most people won't be patient enough to wait that long. Same thing with like the vast majority of like mobile games. This is like based around that. It's like the inherent design of them in general. When it comes to something like an in-game reward, I look like probably the biggest problem I've ever had with like a single-player game having like microtransaction was like the only one I ever played, and it was only for a very brief period of time, was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which had XP boosters. So if you played that game long enough, you'd eventually hit a massive difficulty spike, which guess what that was incentivizing? Buying EXP boosters so you could then level up faster and progress past this massive difficulty spike. And the massive difficulty spike was like 2/3 of the way through the game. It's like you'd already be too far gone to really back out at that point. You'd be pretty committed, at least most players probably would be. So like, those are the ones I really raise an eyebrow at, and I'm like, that's kind of messed up. Dragon's Dogma 2, I find myself in a really awkward position with, because like, it is selling stuff like that, but I would hope, I don't know enough about the game's design, but I would hope that the game is designed in a way that it does not encourage players or does not, incentivize players to buy something like that. And then they also have like fast travel stones available for purchase, which like for me, when I played Dragon's Dogma 1, I played it for like 5 or 6 hours. But one big problem I had was the lack of availability for fast travel, and that's admittedly like a selling point for this game, is they like to advertise that fast travel is very limited and you have to, engross yourself in the world, and, getting from point A to point B is supposed to be interesting. But I really wasn't totally sold on that when I played the first game, and I was like, I kind of just want to speed this along. I don't really want to have to retread these areas, and I didn't find traveling the world to be that ridiculously fun in terms of that. So I think that, I would have been looking at those and being like, oh, well, this design seems like it may be encouraging me to buy a fast travel token or whatever the case may be. And I've been told that this game is very similar to that. So I really kind of fall in this really weird middle ground with this particular story. At the end of the day, I think it is an overreaction. Like, if you were going to freak out about microtransactions, bro, you waited a little too long. Like, we're too deep into it at this point. Yeah. So I think get rid of microtransactions. I'd rather just pay up front, but people also clearly don't like it in this game for some reason. So that, I guess that's my take, is a very middle ground fence sitting one.
Yeah, it's because you can earn these in game, so I didn't really find a problem. But like some of them are egregious, like the character edit is like, $2 for that, or like $2 for like a fast travel. And I remember you were talking about like Dragon's Dogma 1. Like, I remember, like, traveling, because you have a stamina bar. So, like, you can only run for, like, a bit, and then you have to recharge.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to wait. And then, it's like this whole thing. And if you die, oh, my fucking God. I remember I died, like, in Dragon's Dogma 1, like, going to the mission. And I forgot to save or something, because there's no auto save for some reason in the first one. So, like,
no, there's not.
Sometimes you would forget. Like, I remember I lost like 2 hours of progress, and I just shut the game off after that.
Yep. Funny enough, that the exact same thing happened to me. I forgot to save because there is no autosave. Because I'm at this point in games, let's be honest, you're just used to there being an autosave.
Yeah.
If there's no autosave, you just won't save. And I think I lost like 4 or 5 hours or something like that. And I was like, well, okay, that's the end of Dragon's Dogma, and I never went back.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
And the first game is kind of shitty graphics, so I was like, it's fine, I'll drop this. I'll just wait for the second one. And it's the same thing. I'll just wait for a discount on this one. I think it looks fun, but it's just like, nah, I'm not ready to pay $70. I'll just wait till everything's ironed out. And they put out like a little like patch note or whatever. There's like a little update that they said they're gonna fix the frame rate or something, and like in the future they might increase it. So we'll see.
Apparently, you couldn't even start a new game. They had to patch that in.
Oh, yeah.
After launch. So there were a few things they forgot that they needed to put in.
Yeah. So it was like this whole thing with this game. The autosave thing. One more thing. I remember that happened to me with Persona 5 Royal. Because there's no autosave in that one. And you can only save in like the safe rooms. So I remember I was doing this one palace and I just died. So I lost like so many hours of progress. It's like 3 hours. And like, oh my God, that shit sucked because there's like a lot of dialogue, so I was just skipping everything and stuff. So yeah, it's just something that just popped up in my head. Let's get into the next one. Kotaku, the editor-in-chief, resigns after criticizing management. Jen Glennson resigned after a short 6 months at the company, and they called the parent company CEO Jim Spanfeller a herb. I don't know what that means. I don't know. Do you guys know what an herb means? Like, is that an insult?
It is a herb in this particular
herb,
context. Okay. Yeah, I know. You'd think it's herb, but it's herb because the insult version is herb. Oh. It's just like an old school insult for loser or dweeb or dork or something like that. Very, very, innocuous.
I think I've maybe heard that word before once. I used like in a movie or some shit. So.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She claimed it was she, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She claimed that the decision was because the company is moving away from news coverage and towards game guide content, which she claimed was not financially a good move, which is right because Kotaku, they make a lot of shitty articles. Every time I see an article, it's always like clickbait. is like them. I remember they're going after Nintendo. They're like, oh, this is how you hack. This is how you get Yuzu to get into Tears of the Kingdom and stuff like that. And there's like a lot of stuff right there. It's like, yeah, this site sucks. And then it's funny because Kotaku used to be like a really good place to like look for news and stuff, and it's just like
it used to be the place to go.
Yeah, I remember I used to always go in there. I mean, they got some okay stuff on here. Sometimes I'll see like an article, I'm like, cool, interesting. But now I just like, I see Kotaku, I'm like, nah, I'm not clicking that. I'd rather click on something else. Like I'd rather use an IGN article instead than Kotaku. I don't know if any of you were Kotaku aficionados. Henry, were you a Kotaku fan?
I like almost, I won't even say, like 15 years ago, I used to read Kotaku. And it was better at the time. It was actually like a news site. And now I don't think it is pretty much hardly at all. Like it's very rare to find a news article on Kotaku. It's really a lot of garbage. Like check out this Legend of Zelda artwork. Isn't it cool? Like click on the link to see this cool thing. And it's like, okay, I don't know if that's exactly what I came here for. I can find that like freaking anywhere else on the internet, so I don't think I need you to content farm me like that. But it is interesting to see this, like, let's be real, the downfall of Kotaku over the years. It used, like I said, used to be one of the really big news sites, really respected name in gaming news, and they've had a few editor-in-chiefs turnover over the past couple of years. This one obviously only lasted 6 months, and it's funny, the CEO being called a herb. This is a ongoing joke within Kotaku. Apparently, one previous editor that was fired put up an article that literally the headline was just calling him a herb, and that's why it stuck around. And they couldn't take it down for like a few days, so or something like that, because the guy had quit. So like that's why it's a long running joke. But the guy is known to be kind of he's not really known to care about necessarily the gaming news angle of it. He's and like Alexis was saying, there apparently the CEO is like, well, we need to focus on game guide content, which according to the editor in chief that resigned, Jen. She has seen analytics that apparently is contrary, that game guides are not good for money and that news is where the money's at. I mean, I don't know how she got that impression, because I don't know what news Kotaku is necessarily reporting that gets people to click. Obviously, they're reporting the same stuff everybody else is, but I doubt they're doing it in a way that's like a massive moneymaker. And I honestly... the game guide content comes up every once in a while for me for Kotaku, and it's pretty high up there, and sometimes I'll actually read it. So like nice. when we're talking game guide content, it's like, hey, it's not like an actual like walkthrough. It's like how to find X item in this game. It's very, very, very specific game guide content. And so sometimes I'll literally just Google a question of like, well, where do I need to go next, or what do I need to do now, or how do I get this thing? And a Kotaku article will literally just tell me that answer. Admittedly, I will have to scroll like to the very bottom of the article and pass 4 ads, but like it will give me the answer eventually. But that's essentially what the CEO clearly seems to think is the correct financial move for Kotaku moving forward, is to just be an SEO farm and just farm buzzwords or what's popular at the time, and admittedly that is like the dying breath of a news website. Like I can only imagine that is like the last possible ditch thing they had to do, or that they could do to even make money at this point. Otherwise they wouldn't be doing that. It's supposed to be a news site. So I'd say this looks like Kotaku is slowly, or it's been slowly dying, but this is like their last ditch effort to do anything with the site, it looks like, to make money. But that's just my take.
Yeah, I fully agree. Honestly, this is the herb part is just the icing on the cake. Honestly, it's kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, as I was looking into this Jim Spanfeller, who is the CEO I don't know if it's Go Media or Go, but I mean it's G dash.
I think it's Go. Yeah, I think it's Go.
Cool. So yeah, this Go Media. The more I looked into this Jim guy, I didn't realize that they also ran Deadspin a while back, and it says, in 2019, Go Media's sports blog Deadspin received media attention when all of its writers and editors resigned after an edict by upper management to stick to sports.
Yeah.
So like this guy he's not well liked. I'll put it that way. And then it goes on, and this is on his wiki if anybody's curious, but it goes on to kind of mention that the GMG union, which is the staff of Go Media, has basically publicly denounced him. So I'm like, okay, well that's interesting. But I mean, honestly, she seems a little bit out of touch. I don't personally know what resources she was using, much like you, Henry. She doesn't She doesn't state publicly, oh, I was looking at these analytics. But I don't know what she was looking at, but I find this very hard to believe because I think it's not really that much of a secret that news in general has been struggling the past X amount of years. And you see it a lot. You see news websites shutting down. You see newspapers shutting down. We're moving into a new like age of news, I would say. Podcasts are doing really well. YouTube is doing really well in terms of like, whether it's news or even long form video. My point in getting at that is, frankly, and I, as somebody who reads a ton myself, just in general, outside of even, articles and whatnot, reading is becoming less common, straight up. And so I think to say, oh, we need to focus on writing news articles, I don't really think that's a great angle. I think also, I'm not going to lie, I kind of think this is a pretty smart move also in the sense that there's not really, and I could be wrong here. I know a lot of people recommend IGN. I personally hate their guides. That's just my opinion. I think their guides are really bad.
They're not great.
There's a gap in this kind of niche, in my opinion. Like, there's not one website where people say, oh, you need a guide, you always go there. For example, if as somebody who used to trophy hunt, there's like 2 websites that people say go there for platinum trophy guides. And they've kind of cornered that in a sense, right? And there's not really, that I can think of at least, a website that people say, oh yeah, always, like, boom, go there. I hear a lot of different things for video game guides. So yeah, I mean, why not? Give it a shot. Again, to me, like you, Henry, I think this seems like kind of a desperate move, to be honest anyways, but why not? I don't think news is an answer. And like we've said, they don't really do news. I know you guys kind of shared your history with Kotaku. I've never used it ever, pretty much. Not because any particular reason. I just never really dug that deep into that as a specific website. There was other websites I was going to. And so I've never really, it's, as a gamer, you can't get away from Kotaku. I've heard plenty about it the last 10 years, but I've never really gone there myself for one reason or another. And I had other websites I preferred. And so to me, this is, why not? Honestly, there's a lot of websites getting hit really hard, especially in the gaming space. News is not, it's not the same way that it used to be. I would put it that way. And evolving from that in some way is, in my opinion, a smart move. So I think it makes sense. Now, I mean, we'll see given time if she's right or not, but, 6 months is pretty short tenure. So
very.
I think a lot of people just lost trust with Kotaku, like, over these past few years. Like, they just made like a lot of clickbait articles and just like rage bait. That's what you call it, just to get like people riled up. And then and the difference between like Kotaku and like IGN and stuff is like IGN has like, they have like their own YouTube. I think their YouTube is like very like, they get a lot of views on their reviews and stuff. And like Kotaku doesn't really have that. They lost trust with like Nintendo. Like Nintendo's like, fuck you guys. We're not sending you any more games. So like they don't have Nintendo. I don't know if any other company has them blackmailed or Blackballed,
I
I
think
mean.
Sony did for a long time. They may not anymore, but they did for a long time.
Okay, so
Jeez.
yeah. So like, is the difference between IGN? I think IGN will always be here, like through their YouTube and stuff. And I think just having like one spot or two is just fine. Like, cause you have like all these like news sites and everything, so it's just like there's just so much information for people to like choose. So like people are just going with like, oh, I'll just go with IGN or GameSpot or whatever, or VGC. I think VGC is like the one of the top ones right there. So because they also get like a lot of hits and like leaks and stuff. So like people are like, oh, I'm gonna tune in and stuff. So
Sure.
yeah. So Kotaku, we'll see if they. I don't think they'll survive very long. Probably give them, I don't know how many years, 5 more years, I think. Kind of tough.
Maybe.
Yeah, it's
maybe.
tough. We'll see how they go. Let's close out this podcast with some news. Balatro. It's funny because the last time I think we said Balatro was at 250,000. I think, or
It was 500,000. Yeah, 500,000.
oh, 500,000. So it's double that. So now it's a million seller according to their Twitter. Wow.
I was one of them.
Nice. Oh yeah, you did buy it. So yeah, I haven't got into it because it looks confusing, but I might check into it. I'm down for a card game. I'm because Queen's Blood and stuff. That's just fun to sell.
I've been hearing so much about this, man. I love Final Fantasy mini games. I can't wait for when I get around to it.
Yeah, Balatro. Henry, you're the first one here to sing its praises. What do you think about 1 million already copies sold from one developer?
I was already happy at 500,000, so a million's even better. It's a great game, and it seems like it'll continue to do well, and I'm glad to hear it. I mean, it had that little stumble, even with being misrated or whatever the case was, with all those storefronts getting pulled. So I'm glad to see that it didn't hurt it. It still undoubtedly hurt it, but it hopefully didn't hurt it too much, and it certainly seems like this guy is going to be making a good bit of money off this game, which is awesome. Yeah, always good to see.
Retire. Cameron, you want to say anything?
Yeah, and when we get to the what have we been playing section, I'm going to talk about this game a little more. But I think it's great, and I always I'm always up here talking up indie devs. I love seeing stuff like this. I always call back to Stardew Valley because I'm very familiar with Eric Barone. Just in general, I don't know the guy, but that made it kind of sound like I know him. Kind of made it sound like I'm his friend or something. No, I don't know him, but read a lot of articles about him because I was really hooked on that game, and honestly, just really curious about game dev in general, and had never really dove too much into it. So, always cool thing when I see a one-man show or a few-man show kind of situation where they just sell a ton of copies. It's always really cool to see. So yeah, this is awesome. Good for him.
Hell yeah. Shout out Balatro. Let's get into our last section. So this is a rumor. This is from a trusted leaker on Twitter. They go by MBKK and like a lot of letters, but she usually goes by Midori. There's like this rumor that Persona 6 will launch on the Switch successor. So whenever that comes out, they also said that it's going to launch on multiple consoles. So if you have an Xbox or a PC, day and date, because I know the other games like Persona 5 wasn't. It was only on PS4, and then and they just got ported like later down the line. So right now they're shooting for a 2025 release date, which is like long overdue. This was like the GTA 5 for Persona 5. So 2025. I think she also said like 2026 at the latest. Like if shit goes bad. So 2025. Oh, another stacked year. I think next year will be like one of the best years with like Monster Hunter, GTA 6.
They gotta stop.
Yeah,
they gotta stop with this.
Yeah, and then there's some other games I forgot, but probably Ghost of Tsushima too. Naughty Dog. There's a lot. And I wanted to ask you guys, like, what do you think about what would you like to see from like Persona 6? Because like for me I think I'm done with the high school setting. I think because like after playing Persona 5, it was kind of like, I guess, I loved it, but like at certain points it's kind of cheesy. I guess it was like because it was trying to be serious, but these are like teens in high school, and like they're taking down
just every anime.
Yeah, this is like they're taking down they're taking down adults that are like fucking powerful
fight
CEOs.
God.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a college setting would just be like more fitting for me because I could relate more to that because they're like adults compared to like teens where like, but there's a lot of people that are like nah because then they'll just ruin the spirit and everything. I don't know what do you guys like to see from Persona 6? Were any of you like fans of like Persona 5, like their like the high school setting and stuff? Same with all their games mostly. I think the second Persona was like in college. I think I remember people talking about that, but I don't know how accurate that is. But what do you think about this Persona 6?
Yeah, 1 and 2 I cannot speak to. Those two games I think I even mentioned
Same.
on a podcast previously. They were very niche. It wasn't until like 3 that the series really blew up.
Yeah,
which is when they possibly when the first time they went to a high school apparently. But obviously I'm a Persona fan. I like a little bit more than halfway through Persona 3 Reloaded, and obviously like Persona 4 is like my favorite JRPG ever, and Persona 4 Golden, and then Persona 5 is great too. In terms of like a high school setting, I really don't mind it. I'm kind of an anime addict in general, and I feel like I'm just desensitized to everything anime has to throw at me at this point. I just kind of have to accept it, or I have accepted it a long time ago. Otherwise, I would have walked away from it. But high school doesn't really bother me too much. I understand wanting a college setting could totally work. I think that the main thing that would clash with that, with what Persona normally tries to do, is like, Persona is normally like a coming of age kind of story for most characters. Yeah. So it's like them kind of discovering who they are and who their inner selves are. And it kind of just goes well with a high school setting, normally stories like that. College could certainly work, and I wouldn't be opposed to that. But I don't see this working with like an office setting for like an older adult kind of thing. It would have to be college if they were going to do anything else. In terms of anything else I would want to see from this, like obviously Persona's great. Just the loop of Persona is fantastic, and Persona 5 really cemented the style of a Persona game.
Oh, yeah.
And like the music, the interface, the just everything kind of jiving together, and it's fun, it's smooth, it's cool. And obviously, I'd really just want him to keep everything the same. Like, I really wouldn't want. I honestly want mostly like quality of life improvements. But really, what makes a JRPG for me every time is going to be your story and your characters. If your story and your characters suck, then I don't want to spend 150 hours with them. Yep. That would probably also be a slight note on Persona 5 or Persona 6. If we could make it like 50 hours shorter, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
50, maybe 100 hours shorter. That would be cool. But yeah, I'd say as long as they as long as they keep doing what they've been doing with the series, and I think Persona 3, how it reviewed, is pretty good indicator that people are just cool with them doing the same thing again, which is really what Persona 3 Reload was just like a Persona 5 update to Persona 3. I think people will be pretty happy with it. And I think Persona 5's characters and story were a little bit weaker than like a Persona 4 Golden, to me at least. So I would hope that they would be able to make them a lot more compelling in 6. And honestly, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, same. Were you a Persona fan at all, Cameron? Do you agree with
Yeah. Definitely love 4 and 5. Never played 3. I know you guys have been talking up the remake. I'm definitely gonna get it. I'm definitely gonna get around to it. I was just talking to somebody the other day, and this is just the eternal thing that happens with everybody that plays games. I just have such a big backlog. I'm like, I can't add a Persona game to the backlog that I'm trying to work through, which actually, and to my benefit, is a list of pretty short games in my backlog. So there's a couple in there that are really quick, or should be pretty quick, that I'm sure we'll talk about over the next few months. But yeah, no, I love 4 and I love 5. As soon as I beat 5, I was like, holy shit, I never wanted to leave this game. It's funny you say you wanted it shorter, because like I'm one of those weirdos who like I just loved how long it was, because I'm like, I love getting just completely lost in a game like that for such a long period of time. But
I get it. Yeah.
To do that though, like you said, it's got to be a really good game. You know what I mean? Like I'm not gonna get like hugely hooked onto for 85 hours on like something bad, right? So that is super important, of course. But yeah, no, I loved 5 a ton, and I was like, okay, well now I'm gonna play 4. Really loved 4 too. Like I had a lot of fun with it, and I was, despite going back in time, and sometimes people get a little thrown off by that.
Yeah,
It's holds up really well. And honestly, I didn't even play before they did this remake. So, and I don't know exactly how much they added to the recent, like, or I guess it was like a year ago. It's been a minute since they did that remake, but I played it like way before even that came out, and so I didn't have those quality of life updates, and it held up really well. Now, something you said, Alexis, that I was nodding my head along with, I would love to get out of the high school setting. I would not say that I won't play it if it isn't, because I absolutely still will. You know what I mean? Like we're going to play it even if it is, but I would love to see college. Personally, I think that would be cool. Like maybe beyond, but it would still need to be like right at like post grad. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to do like 45, but me personally, I know a lot of people that I've talked to online these past few years are saying very similar sentiments, where they're like, I'm so tired of every JRPG being like 18-year-olds. And I don't necessarily feel that much pushback on it, but as I get older, I do kind of see the appeal of like, say, a Yakuza Like a Dragon, or I'm like, oh, like, okay, 40 cool. There's like, it's like, okay, cool. Like, and here's my thing, right? Is like, it's not even really their ages for me. It's that it's different. You know what I mean? It's not even like, oh, cool that they have an old man with an umbrella in this game. It's like, oh, wow, they actually have an old man in the party. Like, even if, like, it'd be a little creepy if there was a Persona old man in the party of like high schoolers. But my point is, like, I would have loved to see some kind of variation, within like the ages. I do think that they've always done a really good job, and the ones that I've played have been high school, but like, feel free to mix it up a little bit. There's some animes I've seen, and I haven't watched a ton of anime in a while, but there's some that I've seen that, they kind of dabble, and Henry, you can probably attest, but they kind of start to dabble into like college age-ish, you know what I mean? But you're right, there are a ton that are like high school focused, but I think just in terms of variation, I would love to see them bump the age up a little bit. But let's be real, Persona game comes out, I'm gonna play it no matter what. So
same. Yeah, I don't really mind that. It's just like something like I would like to see. Cool. Yeah, it'd be cool. I mean, that's why I'm more of like a Final Fantasy fan, because it's like sort of like older people, but they're not too old, like Yakuza. Like you're playing like 40-year-old men, which is funny because I do want to play them one day. Like I know, like I think one of them was like
good, dude.
Yeah, like oh my god, yeah. So I'm not gonna say any more about that, but and then like I think Final Fantasy VIII. Did any of you guys play Final Fantasy VIII? I think you remember. Yeah, it's like that.
Not too much.
Okay, so I won't say anything, but it's just like it takes place like in high school, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
I knew that.
I want to see a remake of that.
I gotta be honest with you though, that it's funny you bring up that as your example, because that's a bit of a weird one. Like, yes, they're in a high school technically, but they all look like they're like early 20s.
Yeah,
so,
they look old. They're old.
It definitely like is one of those games where it reminds me of back in movies where high schoolers used to be played by like 35-year-olds, and they've kind of peeled away from that lately. It's like that's what 8 reminds me of, because like. Yeah, that like the main characters all look way older than they're supposed to be in that game, and it's pretty funny to me. But yeah, no, I hear you, and I think it's interesting because of that in some ways too, or even like like Final Fantasy VII is what I think of too. It's like they're, I don't know the official ages of all those characters, but they look like they're a little older. Like they're not like 15, you know what I mean? Clearly,
like 19,
so
above 20 maybe.
Yeah, I mean Barrett's probably like mid 20s, late 20s, 30s. I don't know. Yeah. He's somewhere around there. Who knows?
So, Cloud is 21. by the way.
Okay.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, there you go.
Which is
See,
very
that's-
abnormal for anime. Normally they're 16.
Yeah,
Every main character is 16.
19-year-old old man in anime. So yeah, it's you turned old and your hair got gray at 20. So yeah.
I looked up the ages for the Final Fantasy VIII characters. They're all like 17. So I think that's
Oh
like
my
the
God,
youngest.
dude.
Yeah.
Look at a picture of Squall and tell me
He's
that
not.
man is
Yeah,
17.
no way.
Come on now. Come on now.
That 17-year-old has seen some things, man.
Yeah.
Gosh dang it. Oh, that's classic.
Yeah. So that's it for the news section. That was a quick one. Let's get into
Just a quick 2 hours.
yeah.
I was gonna say yeah.
Let's get into what we've been playing. So I'll just start with mine. So for like the online game, so I was in the because I was playing Rebirth for like a month and stuff. I was just like, damn, I want to play some online games. So I just got motivated. I was watching a video and it's like people like competitive, they're doing call outs and shit. I'm like, damn, I missed that shit. So then I called one of my boys, yo, download Apex, download Rainbow Six, let's get back on this.
Nice.
Download Overwatch too. So I'm like, okay, we got back on it, and yeah, it's been fun as hell. Like I remember playing Rainbow like fucking 2017, like a long time ago. And I just got back into it and I'm like, I suck at this. Like I'm just getting like headshotted like across like the hallway. I'm like, I can't even see him, and then he sees me first. Like it's like confusing as hell. So like Rainbow Six is a learning curve. It's like I think it's one of the hardest like multiplayer games to play
It's
out there.
very hardcore.
Dude,
yeah,
it's so
no doubt.
oh my god, like people will team kill you if you blow up the whole like if you blow up a wall wrong. They're like, oh, what the fuck? They talk
I was
shit
gonna
to you.
say that's the game where you like breach. Like
Yeah.
one team is breaching the
Yeah.
house and the other
Yeah.
team's defending it. Okay, cool. I actually really like watching that competitive.
fun.
It's a really fun game to watch competitive.
I don't know, because competitive is like they play differently than like normal people. It's
Oh,
weird.
for sure. Yeah, every game. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for me, I play really slow. Like for them, they play fast for some reason. Like for me, I play slow. I'm like I'm checking every corner. I'm like walking. I'm looking for traps and stuff. So, and there's like so many like operators and stuff. Like you don't know what's going on. So
How different are they? I've always been curious. Like, how different do they play?
They all play like differently. They all have like the same guns, not the same guns. They have like different weapons and stuff. So it's like everyone has like a gadget, tactical and stuff like that. And then they have abilities, sort of like Overwatch, where like they have like it's not as egregious as Overwatch, I'd say,
Sure.
but it's like oh man, there's so many. There's like over like 40 for attacking and then 40 for defending. So it's like it's kind of annoying to remember like what they do and like what, it's very long, like very it's a learning process. I mean, and there's like some like there's like a breach. Like people can climb up like through walls. Somebody can throw a camera.
Damn.
Somebody can throw like a little device above them and they can see the floor above them. It's like there's like so much shit going on. So,
okay, so those are a little more powerful than I thought they were. Wait, are you saying one of the characters can climb up the walls and nobody else can?
oh man, I think.
Or is it
everybody
like a group of? It might be like a group of people or something. I don't know. I don't know
it's
how
like
the game works.
okay, it's kind of hard to say, but like there's like breach like hatches in the game, so like you can blow up like above you. There's like a little hatch, like a square hatch. You can blow it up and you climb up there to the second floor of the room. Like if you're
I
defending,
see.
there's only one
Okay.
operator that can do that. So.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there's some that throw traps. They put traps in the window, so then like once you go through it, you blow up. It's like loud as hell, so like you get jump scared. So it's like it's kind of scary playing this game. So yeah, Rainbow Six, bit of a learning curve, man. It's tough, but it's fun though. I'm having fun with it. Next was I'll say Apex. I was just playing this yesterday. We're playing ranked. We were just playing. I think I really like at the end of the game where like there's like 6 teams and the circle is very small, so like it's like all compact and it's like there's like a whole event at the end. It's like, oh yeah, this is fun as hell. So yeah, Apex. I mean, it's fun, but like it's kind of tough because there's some games where like you just lose because people are just better than you, which sucks because people play this game a lot, so it just sucks.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's not even. I don't even know. Is it ranked or not? Or is there good matchmaking at all? Because I feel like every time I play with Apex, there's always a team or a handful of teams that are like crazy higher level than me, and they just absolutely destroy me. Easy. No shot.
Man, it's so weird because like I think everybody's just good at this game. They know what they're doing. Like it's kind of hard to find.
I guess I'm just not everyone.
Yeah, that's why I just play ranked. I'm like, fuck it. If I'm gonna just die, I'm just playing ranked and get some points. It plays differently because you gotta play for the circle. Like it's like a whole lot of things. You gotta strategize.
You gotta get carried to victory by a random Henry. I've played like 5 games of Apex in my entire life. I downloaded it to play with some friends. Played 2 matches with a friend, and a guy joined our party and then wanted to squad up with us, I guess because he saw we were a duo. And the first match we played, I died before killing anybody. And the third guy that joined our squad, like the random, I think he ended up with like 12 kills in the game or something, or 10. Yeah. I was like, all right, man, thanks for carrying us to a win. And then he played like 3 more matches with us, and we won like 2 more. And then I never played the game again. So it was like my one experience with that game was
retired a winner.
Yeah. Yep. I was like, my one experience with that game was just getting absolutely hard carried. I think I seriously got 1 kill in 4 games, and we won like 3 out of 5, which is absolutely absurd. So pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Apex is alright. It's fun at the end. It just sucks when you die early because then you gotta get all your loot. You gotta go all over again. It's like it's annoying, but yeah. And then Overwatch 2. So I was playing rank with one of my friends. So I'm damage and he's support. And some games can go like fucking. It just goes to shit. It's like the whole team is talking shit, and then it's like, damn, bro, this is toxic as hell. And then sometimes you're dominating the other team, and then you look in the chat and they're just talking shit with each other. It's like, damn, bro, this is like all over the place. But I think I'm having a good time. I quit yesterday because I was doing terrible this one match, so people were just talking shit to me. It's like, damn, go on. It's like, Soldier, what are you doing? It's like, this is your. He's like, of course. He's like, block my soul. He's like, I was Soldier, right? Soldier 76.
Mm-hmm.
And then my teammate was like, block this soldier on our team to get a free win. I'm like, damn. I put the team down. He's like, damn, how can you be trash for 2 games in a row? Because I was queuing up with the same team. For some reason.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I learned from League of Legends. Mute.
It's in the chat.
You can't mute the chat, games, dude. I gotta. Oh no. Well, I was gonna say too. I got a question for you, real quick, because I think this is really interesting. You brought these games to the table. So, 2 questions. First of all, real quick answer. Which one have you been playing the most of these 3? You think?
Rainbow Six. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And then second thing, as it pertains to Overwatch. So when Overwatch 2 first came out, about a month later, I had a friend that was like, hey, he wanted to get everybody together and play a bunch of Overwatch 2. So we downloaded it again, and we played, I don't know, man, a couple weeks off and on. I don't know if it's the same way for you, but it was this way for me, and I played the original Overwatch for like 150 hours, and I never experienced it this bad. In Overwatch 2, I have never been in an online multiplayer game that has this snowbally of games. Like, we would join a game and lose within like legit 5 minutes. And then we would join a game and win within like 6 minutes. Yeah. And I'm like, what is the matchmaking in this fucking game, dude? Because like we can't get in a balanced game. Like, we had no games that extended past like 10 minutes. And I'm like, I don't know if it's gotten better since then, because that was right when it had come out, or when they had like done the update or whatever. Mm-hmm. But I had never run into that before, man. I'm like, we seriously cannot get into like a fair game, whether it's us losing or winning. Yeah, it was bad.
Mm-hmm. It sucks because then you have those games where you also dominate the other team. It's just like no contest. Like, damn, what the hell's going on? It's just like, oh my god, and oh my god. There's one more thing. Like, I remember I was playing yesterday in that game I was doing bad in, and I was just looking like all these like lights going off. There's like shooting everywhere. It's like, bro, my head's about to explode because there's like so much shit going on my screen. It's like I'm about to have like a seizure playing this game because I don't know what's going on. There's like a new hero. He throws like a shield, and then it's like this and this and this. Oh my god. And I was just like, yeah, I'm done with this, and I just hopped off after that. But yeah, don't play Overwatch because there's so much shit going on the screen. So like, if you don't play
Overwatch.
I would say don't play Overwatch because, oh man, it's so hard to learn, and then the people in the game are just dicks. Because if you want to play, even just casual games, people are dicks like for some reason. And I was playing ranked, but Yeah.
I have heard it's very toxic.
Oh yeah.
I know that I played the original Overwatch for like 30, 40 hours, something like that. I really enjoyed my time with it.
Yep.
But I have not heard, that was like very early on in the game's like in its cycle. And now I really haven't heard much good about it since then.
Sure.
I know that it's gone through a lot of problems in development. I think even just this week there was a story that like they canceled the PvE content that they've been talking about for a long time, and they've been really struggling internally to figure out what the heck they're doing with this. I mean, as evident with putting a 2 at the end of this, it really just like, why did they even do that? I guess maybe you guys can tell me what is even the difference between Overwatch 1 and 2, other than the fact I think they changed team comps and added a few more characters. Like, what did they even do there?
Yeah, I'll say that they took out one player. So in Overwatch 1 is 6v6, now it's 5v5. So they wanted like quicker, which is annoying because they increased the HP for everybody. So it's like, I keep shooting somebody, they won't fucking die. Holy fuck! Because then they made the support stronger, so they get their health back, and then they have new abilities. They also put some new maps and heroes, but that's it. I mean, it's basically the same game. It just
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna say too, like I was gonna say addition. The removal of a player though did massively change the meta. Though,
yeah.
I will say, because
God.
it sounds it's weird. It doesn't sound, or it didn't to me at least, sound like that big of a deal when I first heard about it. It completely changed the game. Like
I missed
the way that the teams are built is just completely different, and I was obviously bounced super hard off of Overwatch 2, but yeah, other than that, also worth mentioning too, Henry, they were gonna make a PvE component, and that's the news story you're referencing. They were gonna make a PvE component, and that's what was part of the Overwatch 2 being a sequel, and then also it being paid when the original you could download or you could pay, but what I mean.
It was pay originally, and now it's free to play.
Exactly, and that was part of the Overwatch 2 purchase you could make if you wanted, was skins, and then you got access to PvE when it came out. And now they've just announced PvE is never going to come out because of poor sales.
Gypped.
So, yeah, I mean, in a sense, yeah, kind of.
So they advertise something and they're not going to give it to you anymore. Yeah, I'd say that's being gypped.
And like honestly, it's ridiculous. Like just in general, I would say that they've just completely thrown that component out of the window, and that I would say that would be the only thing that was even remotely going to get me back into it. And so
I agree.
I'm just donezo with Overwatch.
It's weird because I missed though that 6v6. Like oh my god, like because they buffed the tanks with 5v5, so like the tanks have more health. So like it's so fucking annoying because they just you keep shooting, they won't fucking die. There's like this one clip of Shroud. It's like, I keep shooting, they won't fucking die. And that's like me playing yesterday. I'm like, bro, yeah, this shit sucks. Like you need precise aim. It's like, oh my god. And they put my same rank because I was like high rank. I was pretty high because I guess I was naturally good at it. So like they put me back into like high diamond masters, which is like annoying because I don't know what's going on in this game. So,
yeah, I hate when that happens.
And then you have my teammates talking shit to me. I was like, damn, all right, that's enough for the day. So, yeah, that's it for Overwatch 2. Yeah, just getting some online games in, which is kind of fun. And then Rebirth. I remember last time I said that I wasn't really enjoying it, and now I'm like, yeah, I think I love this game a lot. Like I've just been exploring everything in this game. So, right now I think I'm at like a 70%. So yeah, this game is awesome. So if you're a Final Fantasy fan, please buy this game. I'm not gonna say any more because I don't want to spoil it for like Cam and stuff. So I'll just say it's been awesome. That's all I say. So yeah, and that's where I like pick it up, leave it off to Henry to Rebirth. You wanna say any final? No spoilers, please, because I'm not done with it. So go ahead.
No, well, I'm not done with it either. So you don't have to worry about that. It is a very long game.
Oh yeah, it's like Persona 5 level, I think.
Really? I didn't know that.
I haven't heard it's Persona 5 level, but I've heard it takes like 80 hours to complete. I'm at like 70, and I guess, Alexis, what chapter are you on? Do you know?
I'm trying to think. I think 11. I just started 11.
Okay, I'm on 11. I just started 11 too. Okay, so like we're at the exact same spot. So I can't spoil anything for you if that makes you feel any better. But I guess let's tag team on this here, because I definitely want to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about the story or anything like that. I'll say that I am really enjoying the story, and none of my real big comments come from the story segments of the game.
Yeah.
I guess a couple of comments though would be that I think this story, I guess we can get into it, but I think that they do a lot to really expand upon it. From the original game to the remake. Like, characters' backstories are really elaborated upon in certain segments of the game that weren't in the original game. And then, certain areas are really delved into a lot more, and so on and so forth, which I really appreciate. I will say that this game's story does feel like a bit of a slog. While I do really appreciate the story, and I really enjoy the story segments when they're there, I think that, and we can get into this, I think a majority of my comments are about this, but the side content is really overwhelming in this game.
I just skip it.
Well, there you go. So I'm interested. How many hours have you put into the game?
60.
Because I know there's an internal clock.
Okay.
60?
I think it's...
That's really surprising.
let me check. I'm checking on PSN, so continue talking.
Okay, yeah. I've put about 67, according to the in-game clock, and I have done every single bit of side content that's popped up in the game. And I have really gone on this big roller coaster with the game's side content. I will reiterate, I really like this game. I really love the story segments of the game. I do think the story's a bit of a slog because I'll quickly notch that complaint off, but the first game is only Midgar. So a very small section of the game's story. And then, obviously, there's 2 games in this series that's going to wrap up literally the rest of the story of Final Fantasy. The problem with that is that really the only things you're going through in this is just getting the party of Final Fantasy VII. I don't know exactly where the game ends, but it seems like it's trying to end somewhere around where you just recruit basically all the party members, which... At that point, then the game's story actually kind of starts within, not really starts, but like most of the big story moments happen after you get the party members in the game for the remainder of the story. So basically, this entire game isn't much of a story as much as it is recruiting these characters as you go, which is still fun. It's still interesting. They still add things in there that make it more interesting as you go. But it just feels like you're really not building to like this big climax. They kind of force in a climax more so. Because the original game story is basically the cast of characters following Sephiroth. And in this game, the story is pretty much you're following these robed guys that were introduced in the first game that are supposed to lead you to Sephiroth. So it's this weird roundabout way, but since you don't have a lot of the like overarching narrative that the first game provided, the overarching narrative is now these guys in robes that you don't know what the heck they're doing and what's going on. So I'd say the story's a little bit slow, but I think a large part of it's because of the side content. This game, like I said, kind of a roller coaster, because when I was talking about this last week, and Alexis, you and I could probably go back and forth on this, because last week what did you say you weren't enjoying about it last week? Can you remind me?
I think it was just the open world stuff. Like, I was just like, as I was doing a lot of it, I'm like, I'm getting burnt out just doing all this stuff. Because it's just like, It's just mindless. It's Ubisoft, basically. Basically Ubisoft.
Okay. We had very similar opinions on that. So, I don't know how much of the side content you've done since then. But I will agree, like, the opening segment to the open world of this game kind of sucks. None of the side quests are very good. I will say, like, in the first Final Fantasy VII Remake game, I think we've all played it, right?
Yeah.
All the side content sucked. Like, I can't remember a single side quest that was actually good in that game. Like, it was all boring.
Pull-ups? Come on now. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my
Actually, I
God.
did find that pretty fun, but yeah, no, that's like a literal 2-minute thing. So
I remember doing the platinum for that, and that just sucked.
Yep.
Dude.
Hard.
There's a lot of stuff. Like, there's a sit-up minigame instead of a pull-up minigame in this game.
Oh my gosh.
and I thought I had to do it for a trophy, and you don't, and it's miserable. Oh, no. I 100%ed that mini game, and it's like you literally have to be perfect on the final round. It's like crazy hard. But like it literally, I was just an hour of playtime to just do sit-ups in just the final round of sit-ups, just having to memorize button prompts. But anyway, so like at the very beginning of the game, the side content absolutely sucks. None of these side quests they make you go on are interesting or fun, and they're very Ubisofty. All the other side content's very Ubisofty. And then Cam, I remember you asking like, what is even the point of this open world? Mm-hmm. And we were like, well, it's literally just like to do side content, and then you just like jaunt over to the side and you just go to another story sequence, and then you go back to doing open world content in another area. And it seemed very disjointed, and like it really seemed like they were really ham-fisting that side like open world content into the game. They get much better about that about midway through the game, when you get to like Costa del Sol, and like you go to like one open area of the game, and then you have to go to like the Golden Saucer, and then you'll go back out into that same open world, but it's now been expanded for you to work with. And I was like, this is what this should have been from the very beginning. Was kind of the world being a lot more cohesive into the areas that you go in and out of throughout the open world, instead of just, you know, like kind of passing through these open world contents that makes it really easy to skip, like Alexis was doing. Also, as you continue to go, they actually introduce some cool side quests, like some side content that's actually really interesting and like fun or funny. And I was like really interested in that. I don't know if it's a spoiler to talk about some of the things that you do in these, but like, so I won't, just out of, you know, respect for the people. Yeah, but like there's some really like cool stuff that happens, and like some throwbacks to the original game in some fun ways, and like, but the problem with that is that then like that's like 50% of the side quests, and the other 50% of the side quests are like horrific. Like some of them are really really bad, like not fun at all, like pull your hair out bad, and some of them are like just like standard, like go kill this thing and come back, and like that's not really compelling either. So what this all leads up to for me is I'm towards the end of the game now. So the last like 3 chapters of this game, there's 14 chapters. I'm chapter 11. From what I understand, the last 3 chapters are pretty much back-to-back story. I have unlocked all open world segments, and I have come to the conclusion that this game is horrifically backlogged with even more garbage side content. I have 100%ed everything up to this point, and like once you go back to like you have to go back to an area at some point towards in chapter 11. It basically is like, well, we just unlocked a bunch more bullcrap for you to do. You can go back to all these areas and do a bunch more side quests, and you can go to these and do these mini games again, and they've unlocked harder levels of difficulty, and like, hey, why don't you do literally 14 chocobo races in a row for this particular side quest if you want this side character's like story wrapped up. I'm like, bro, let's chill out. Like, I don't need to do 14 chocobo races. Just give me the championship. Let me do 2 or 3 and let's be done. All the mini games, if you want 100% the game, you have to get 100% on every mini game. These mini games can be brutal. That being said, there's a lot of mini games, like a crazy amount of mini games in this game, and very detailed mini games as well. It's a lot to take in. There's a lot of polish in this game, a lot of stuff to love, but I have even gotten to a point. I'm like a guy who likes to 100% games, especially like open world games. It's like kind of just like checklisty like stuff that makes my brain happy. I have gotten to a point where I'm like, I'm done with this. Like, I'm just focusing on the main story at this point. I'm going to skip everything. I don't need to do this. Like, this is not even fun anymore. That being said, it is side content. It is totally skippable. And at that point in the game, it's really almost like end game content, but it just makes it really easy because like you can, it's in-game content that you can be a lower level for, which makes it kind of confusing why it seems like it's supposed to be in-game content. But that being said, it's a lot of content in this game if you are looking for that. I honestly have kind of OD'd on it, and I'm pretty much just going to mainline the story at this point, and hopefully it will be satisfying. It's like the last kind of mini thing I have to complain about is like, hopefully, I have heard that this game's ending is like Nomura as Frick. It apparently like jumps the shark. It doesn't make any sense. It's like weird, and I don't want that. I want this to, like, I feel like they had something good going here with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth or with Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I want to hope that they stick the landing. It's looking like, from what I've heard, probably not going to happen. But again, like, there's really not a lot of story that's changed up to this point in the game, which is another weird thing. Like you would have thought that like there'd be some big plot turns or twists at this point, but there really hasn't been anything huge. It's pretty standard, exactly what they are. There's a couple of moments that have changed significantly, but they don't ultimately change or haven't changed the outcome of anything significantly. I'm sure Alexis knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, that's like my general overall thing. Alexis, do you have anything on that at all? I know you have thoughts. Come on.
Yeah, I disagree with a lot of your points about the side
Oh
quests.
dang!
I like that. I like that.
So you said
Love it
that
when we disagree.
Yeah, okay. So you said that most of them are bad. I think some of them are good. I think so.
I said 50% of them are good. Some 50% are bad.
I remember doing a couple. I'm like, yeah, this was fun. Like, I wouldn't mind doing this again. And then some of the. So what I do is like I only do a little bit. So I don't. So you did like getting most of it, right? So what I do is
all of it. Yeah.
I do like one side quest and then I explore a little bit of the world and then and that's what I do. I think that really helped with like make sure never like help with burnout. But I think I really like exploring the world and stuff and like going like through everything and doing some of the side quests or some of the side stuff. And doing some battles as well. I hate the towers though. I think the towers can fuck off because it's annoying trying to climb it because they're so slow. But
they're very slow. Yeah, a lot of slow stuff in this game.
Yeah, and then the side quests I think it's fine. I think you said that it's fucking trash. I'm like, I wouldn't go that far. I'll just say that they're like it's like average. I think.
Yeah, it 50-50 I think averages out to average. Yeah. You know, there's some really good ones and some really bad ones. It ends up being okay, but like. The frustrating part is not knowing which ones are good and which ones are bad. Yeah. It's like I want all of them to be good if I'm going to be putting my time into them, but half of them aren't. So like I get frustrated with those half.
I read the description, so when you do a side quest, there's like a little description. I read it, and if it sounds interesting, I'll go do it.
Yeah, if there's a side quest about chickens, avoid it. It's the worst side quest in the game.
Yeah, there's one there's a couple that I'm like thinking about. I'm like, yeah, they're pretty good. So. That's it for Rebirth. I still.
Oh dang, that was it.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything because I haven't played it like in a while, so it's been like a couple of days. So like I want to get back into it and try and finish the story the next time, but we'll see. They put on a patch to make it look better, so.
Yeah, they did.
I put mine on performance smooth and it looks a little bit better, so that's cool. Yeah, I got
nice.
Yeah, that's it for Rebirth. I don't want to say anything else to not spoil for Cam and stuff. So, Cameron, you want to talk with your list? You got a little interesting list. You got Atelier.
I know. I got a little bit of everything on here, man. It's pretty weird little list. So, there's a theme here though. But yeah, I'll start out with Atelier. So, Atelier Esca, which I was being a little harsh on it last podcast, I'll be honest, because like it was a little bit annoying to me. If anybody didn't listen to last episode, or even if you did and need a recap, this game basically was giving me too much time. So it's a time-based system, calendar days. You know, you play the game for 4 years, not in real life, thankfully, but in the game, and so. It was basically giving me too much time to complete my next task, and that was bugging me. So in our notes sheet here for the podcast, I put finished with opinion change as a reminder to myself to basically call out the fact that, yeah, I had a pretty big swap on this game in the back half. So last podcast, I was pretty frustrated. It seemed like it was meandering a lot. It was giving me way too much time. And funny enough, as soon as I finished that main task, which to be fair, like it did take me a while to finish that task, because at the time of the podcast, I think I had 90 days left in the game, which is a lot of time, because the more you level up, the less time it takes to build items, to travel. So that's like your incentive for getting better at the game, is, you know, you can do more stuff with a smaller amount of time. So anyways, all that is to say, improves a lot in the back half. So once you get past, you know, assignment 7 or 8, or 7 and 8, I should say, are the two really painful ones that were grating on me more than the prior ones. And you start getting like more into year 3, it improves a lot. It improves a lot, I would say. So it became less of a game of waiting around and fishing for stuff to do, and more of, oh, now you're actually giving me stuff to do, and I have a reason to like venture out and spend some days, right? And one small thing they did is, yes, traveling is easier as you level up, but what they did is they gave you some, I wouldn't call them necessarily secret areas, but there's a couple that are missable areas that take quite a few days to get to, which seems like an artificial thing, right? But it actually makes a difference, right? So say, for example, I have, you know, 90 days left in a task, or even 60 for some of the later tasks, which are a little trickier, but it takes me 10 days to travel to the secret area. Okay, now you're bringing back a little bit more of the time management mechanic, which kind of drew me in the first place. So pretty big improvement. Story, fairly solid. These games' stories, I could always, you know, I would say kind of take it or leave it, but this one's fairly good, I would say, for the series that I've, you know, the games that I've played in the series so far. Pretty solid story, pretty solid gameplay. I think it doesn't necessarily draw you into the sequel, which I think was an interesting angle to take. And there is inherently a mechanic built into this game that incentivizes you to replay it. There are 2 playable main characters, and so when you beat the game, it kind of very heavily nudges you, oh, go beat it as the other main character now. Definitely not doing that, not when I have a backlog like I do. So yeah. Will not be doing that. I'm sure a lot of the story beats are very similar, but have to content myself with watching the true ending on YouTube, I suppose. But yeah,
yeah,
pretty satisfying game overall. And I would say, you know, it's funny with this series, these Atelier games, like any of the games could be somebody's first game because they're so open-ended and a lot of them are not direct sequels. I could actually see this as being a pretty decent jumping on point for somebody completely new to the series, because it's one of the, I wouldn't say modern games in the series, but it's one of the newer of the remasters. That's a big plus for some people. It's pretty basic in terms of like the gameplay mechanics. It's a fairly easy game early on, and then it develops into, you know, some of the optional fights can be extremely difficult, which is sort of a staple of the series, but some of the games like front to back are quite difficult. Like even the story bosses will be difficult. This one's fairly easy. I did, mostly because I had already tried like on my 3rd attempt to beat the final boss, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to move on to a new game. I looked up a guide of like, obviously, you know, synthesizing items is a big part of this series, and if you synthesize the right item, you can absolutely break these games, and it's kind of hilarious. And it's sort of some of the appeal to people. So I looked up a guide, and it took maybe 2-3 minutes to put together 2 attack items that were doing like 15k damage when I was previously doing like 800 damage a turn. So within like one attack, I was doing basically like 15 grand damage. So pretty funny, and definitely helped me beat the final boss. So that was kind of funny. I definitely could have done it on my second of the 2 tries before that. On my second try, I got the final boss down to like 10%. So I was definitely right there on the cusp. But I was like, you know what? I'll just go in with something that can just absolutely smack this fight to the ground, because there's going to be some post-game stuff that I'm going to dabble in. So overall, pretty good impression of that game, I would say.
What would you rank it out of all of them? That's games.
In the series, I would actually put it near the bottom of the games that I've played so far. Okay. I think it's probably like maybe second from the bottom, and I've played 5 now. So not a ton. I think there's like 14, 15 that have come out, but making my way through them. And I got the Dusk trilogy, so I'll be playing the one after this, after a little bit of a break for sure. Yeah. So yeah, pretty solid game.
Nice.
Definitely been playing Balatro. I have some good and some bad news for you, Henry. So the good news is I definitely got hooked on this game. I'm can be a very stubborn person in general. And so I got very stubborn trying to beat a run of this game, because I'm like, I got so close a few times and I was like, how do I keep losing? Finally beat it. And I found as soon as I beat it, I'm like, do I want to keep playing this? And that's an interesting thing for me, because I am one of those people that with a roguelite, I usually when I beat it, if I like it enough to beat it, I want to keep coming back to it. So it was a weird feeling for me to be like, oh yeah, I don't really know if I want to keep playing this game. Like, I dropped on this list as well Slay the Spire, because I'm going to kind of talk about them in tandem a little bit, because Slay the Spire is probably one of my favorite roguelites ever. Definitely my favorite deck builder ever. And I have been playing it a lot lately because I've been playing what I would call like a lot of podcast games lately, right? So like games you don't necessarily have to, Balatro has a soundtrack, but I'm not dying to listen to Balatro every second I play it. I can maybe throw a podcast on in the background. So same with Slay the Spire. I've played it enough, played it tons and tons of hours that not necessarily like even playing it with volume on in some cases. So yeah, with Balatro is interesting. Like I beat it. I didn't know if I wanted to keep playing it. I did end up playing it more yesterday, because my first successful run was Saturday. We're filming this on a Monday night. I did play it a little bit more yesterday on Sunday, and like honestly was having fun. And I know that they have the starting variations, which I did find pretty interesting, but I don't know if it has that sticking power for me. And that was just my personal opinion. I don't know if you've still been playing it off and on. I'm just kind of curious to ask you about that.
Yeah, it's a good question. I did not play it after the first time I played it. I jumped right into Final Fantasy VII, so it was not a whole lot of time. I will say, I'll ask, how many hours did it take you to get to that the final run?
I would say, what would be probably easier even than time would be giving you the run number I did it on, which was probably like my 6th run, maybe.
Really? It was 6 runs and you beat the game?
Mm-hmm. Something like that. 6 or 7. I would say.
I've heard it's not easy to beat that. So
it's definitely pretty tough.
Very quickly.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty tough. I got all the way to the 7th ante. I guess it's called ante, I think. But I got like all the way to the 7th ante on like the 4th or 5th run. I will say I've played a lot of similar games to this. So like when you were describing it, I was thinking, oh yeah, this sounds, kind of up my alley. I've played a lot of deck builders, and I really do strongly believe that this is one of those genres where if you have experience in it, it makes a huge difference. Because like Alexis, you mentioned kind of not being sure about jumping into Balatro. I think you definitely could and be successful, and I think you would catch on quick. But I do think it might take you a little bit longer maybe to figure out like the nuances of like the run mechanics than it would for me, simply just because I've played so many of these games. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like played a ton of Slay the Spire. I know I can like sniff out a bad card like a Bloodhound. So I'm like, okay, I could see like the through line of Balatro pretty early on where I'm like, oh, if I take that Joker, it's going to break my run because I'm wasting money on it. It doesn't synergize with any of my other Jokers, so on and so forth. So like, I do think there's a little bit of that built in, but yeah, it is pretty difficult. And I will say this, Henry, it's funny you ask me that because I have not won since. which is really funny. So I played probably 5 runs yesterday because you can die very quick if you have a bad setup. I played like 5 runs yesterday, did not even come close to winning any of them. So it's really funny how that can kind of work out. And I feel like I had a very similar experience with Hades, where like I wouldn't say luck necessarily, but I almost like lucked into my first successful run, which could be definitely be the case here, which is kind of hilarious.
That's just roguelikes, man. That's just how that works.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Sometimes you just get it absolutely, and it definitely happened on my winning Balatro run. I had an absolutely just busted setup. Like I was scoring like 20,000 points on like any straight that I got with face cards. So it was like it was just absolutely insane. So yeah, it's a fun game. I'll probably bring it back next episode just as a kind of a study in like, am I still playing it or not? Because I do think that's kind of interesting, whether I am or not. But yeah, I've been definitely playing a lot of these like lighter jump in, jump out type of games lately, just because like been pretty busy, and then obviously like March Madness, I'm pretty big fan of. So I've been like throwing some March Madness on and playing some Balatro. So it's been pretty fun. And then very tiny, and I have very small dabble on my notes here, very tiny dive back into Final Fantasy XIV. When I say tiny, I played maybe an hour on Saturday night.
Hour.
Yeah. So I threw it on pretty late at night, and I was like, you know what? I haven't played this in literal months. Like, let me just jump back in and see what's going on here. Played about an hour. This game is so weird for me to like assess whether I like it or not, because the whole premise of it, the design, and in some ways even like the way that the towns are set up, I actually kind of like a lot. Like I love the design of this game. It reminds me of Final Fantasy XII a lot, actually, in a kind of a funny way. Just in terms of like the way that stuff looks and like the towns themselves. Maybe it's just the area that I'm in, as like whatever class I picked, which I do not remember because I just booted up my same character. But man, the flip side of that is I just don't know about MMO gameplay. I just don't know if I can get into MMO gameplay. Like, to me, it feels, and I've literally heard super fans of 14. And if anybody tries to tell me that they don't say this, you're lying, because I've read so many comments. I have read literal super fans of this game that are even like, you have to slog through the first 50 hours to get to the good story. Here's my thing with that. Like, there's too many good games out, and I don't know if I can commit that much time to something that is going to take that long to improve. And the thing is, like, I know I've read a lot of posts about, like, they've massively revamped A Realm Reborn, which is basically like the beginning, 40 hours or however long it is of the game. And it has and I'll give them a huge shout out for this. It has a hugely generous free trial. Like, you can play a lot of this game without having an account. And like, that's what I'm doing. I've never signed up for this game, and I'm can just hop in and out whenever I want for quite a long time. Probably longer than I'll ever get to, but yeah, I just don't know. I just don't know about the MMO gameplay. I've done like one, because I'm still at a very low level. I think I'm like just close to 20, which I know people say the gameplay opens up at like 40, I think, level 40. I've done like one or two like little group activities, and they were much more fun than running around by myself, or when I'm running around by myself and some guy just comes up and helps me kill an enemy. Like, that's fun. It is fun to me. I get the appeal of MMOs, but just the gameplay, I don't know about it, man. Like, the whole concept of like stand still, because I'm playing a class where I have to stand still to cast spells. I'm like the black mage or whatever. Mm-hmm. And so the whole concept of just stand still, cast a spell for 5 seconds or 3 seconds, boom, hit the enemy. run a little bit away from him, stop still, cast a spell. Like, I don't know if I'm feeling this yet. So yeah, I don't know. It's a big I don't know at this point. I'm very non-committal because I will tell you this. It made me want to jump back into it. Even if it was just another hour. Like, I was like, you know what? I walked away from that hour thinking I'm going to boot this game back up within the next week for sure. So
I guess what made you feel that way? You sounded pretty down on it. So what
yeah,
made you feel that way?
It's, you know what it is? I'm starting to feel like I'm seeing the draw in the game. And that sounds very vague, but it is truly the fact that, like, I see the potential in this game. I think that's what I'm starting to see, is that I wasn't seeing at level 1 when I had literally one spell, right? But I am starting to see now that I have more and I have a little bit of a rotation, right? Like, I'm beginning to kind of see the appeal of the gameplay. I'm beginning to be able to do more like group activities, like I was saying. And I'm seeing something. And this is the thing, right, Henry, is like, I don't know if I'm going to, like I said, I don't even know if I'm going to play more than another hour. But I do know I'm going to play a little more. And if I walk away from that hour being like, yeah, if I want to play a little more, then maybe I'll just keep doing that for a little bit. But I don't know. It's hard. It's hard to say. It really is. Because, yeah, I would say I was fairly negative on it, like in my discussion. But there's definitely some really cool things about it. Like I said, I love the visual style. Like, I don't know if that's a common opinion, uncommon opinion. I have no idea. I've read very little about opinions of 14, but I love the visual style. I think it's really cool. I like the enemy design. I do think it's a little weird that it runs into the trope of like every enemy is like 17 times your size that I run into, which is a little weird. I'm like,
sure,
why is there like a crab that's, it reminds me of like Elden Ring almost. It's like, why is there a crab that's like 50 feet tall? But
are they easy to kill?
Kind of, yeah. They're in the area that I'm in. I can kill them by myself and they take like 40% of my health. I'm left with like 60%. But you auto heal so fast in this game that like even saying he takes off 40% of my health is nothing. Right. So, but yeah, I don't know. Have either of you guys ever played 14? Like even just a little bit?
Never.
Yeah, nah. I was thinking about getting back into it because, I know there's like a new expansion, Dawn Trail, coming out soon, which was, they just had like a little event for 14, and it's coming out. It's funny, it's coming out a week after Elden Ring DLC, because Yoshi P is like, I know Elden. It's like Elden Ring DLC. Like, okay, nice. So yeah, that's all I know, because I don't really play MMOs. I think the last one I played was like an online like Flash game or whatever. It's like you make your avatar or something. It's like this world, and you just grind and stuff. So but I was addicted to
Club
it though,
Penguin.
so I don't know, I might like 14. Wait, what'd you say?
I said Club Penguin, but I was kidding. I used to play that back in the day.
Nah, it was something called Gaia Online or something.
Oh yeah, I've heard of Gaia.
Yeah,
it's been around forever.
Oh my god, yes.
Yeah, very
I think it was
old.
called ZOMG or something. It's like their Flash game that they had.
Oh, interesting.
It was fun as hell though. I used to always play with my cousin and stuff, but I think that's an MMO, so I loved it.
That's
though.
cool.
Yeah, I might get into 14, but with the free trial, of course. So
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I think what I will say in closing about 14 is like, or Final Fantasy 14 is, it has a very low barrier to entry because of that generous free trial. So like, anybody out there who's even remotely curious about it, if anything about it catches your eye, just download it and play for 20 minutes. Like, it's going to be free. And the beauty of it, and this is what I love, because as somebody who, like I said on this podcast, dropped off of PlayStation Plus recently because I just wasn't playing multiplayer games, since it's a free-to-play game for me, you don't need PS Plus. So I'm playing it on my PS5 online, no
Nice.
PlayStation Plus. Yeah, it's a really low barrier to entry. Like, hop in there, make a character, pick a different class if you want it. You'll start out in a different area depending on like the stuff you pick, and just give it a shot. I don't know. I will say the other thing that is just like my very last thing is, I would love for people to stop acting like it's reasonable to say if you play a game for 50 hours, it'll start to get good. Because I hear that with a lot of games, and I just want people to realize how absurd that is. Like that is a lot of time. That is so much time. You could beat like 10 games.
It's
10
absurd
short
when
games.
people say, the first 10 hours are slow, but then it gets good.
Yep.
50 hours is even worse.
Yep.
But
Fully
I
agree.
will actually let me jump in on this because
Sure.
I actually do find this game fascinating because it has a very interesting history. This game came out initially a long time ago and everybody hated it. It was a huge flop. And then they got a new director on it, and that new expansion came out, and everybody loved it. People are singing that high heavens to it, praising it. And it really popped off during the pandemic to a point where literally, I believe, they stopped selling the game because so many people were buying the game, it was hurting the game. And so they were like, they pulled it from shelves because they didn't want anybody else to buy it, which is like crazy, especially after the game was considered such a massive flop in the first place. So I guess, Cam, first question is, how long have you actually put into this game? How many hours?
In total, going back to when I created this character, I would say probably not even 10 yet. I would say maybe 6. Maybe 6 hours if I had to guess. Yep.
Okay. And so you said at level 40 you're at level 20, at level 40 it gets good. And that's apparently 50 hours in. So much slower ramp at that point.
So that's all I've heard 2 different independent things. I've heard, get past a realm reborn, which is where like the 50 hours comes in. And then I've also heard combat specifically opens up around level 40. Now, I don't know if those are connected with each other per se. And I know there's some people that know a ton about this game. So I don't want to, you know what I mean? I don't want to like sit here and be like, oh yeah, I know everything. But yeah, those are the 2 kind of big benchmarks, I would say, that I've heard about this game.
Kim, you are on this podcast. You are the Final Fantasy XIV expert. And
Sure.
I look to you for all factual, correct information
Absolutely.
about Final Fantasy XIV. What I've heard primarily about this game is that its story and its lore are fantastic. And really, once you get past that, initial bit that you're referring to, it gets much, much, much better, and it really engrossed people. And so the reason I'm really interested with this as well is because I have played MMOs before, not very many of them, because I had some friends that were into World of Warcraft in college, and it absolutely destroyed their lives. I've never seen so much degeneracy in a single bedroom as I have seen a man playing WoW for hours on end. But so I was scared off from them just from that, because I was like, either I'm going to be like that and my life is going to be upended because of these games, or the other end of MMOs is I hear people play them and they're like, I don't even like this. Like, this isn't even fun. Like, I don't get why people are addicted to them. And I look at the gameplay for MMOs and I typically look at them like, this kind of does look kind of boring. It looks pretty slow. Obviously, like the appeal is, you get with groups of people because it's a massively multiplayer game, and you coordinate amongst each other to take down big enemies and stuff like that, and dungeons and raids and so on and so forth. I'm not huge into multiplayer. I'm much more into something like a co-op game than I would be, which would kind of be more in line with an MMO. But I'm not into huge multiplayer competitive play. So and the gameplay never looked interesting to me. So I've never been totally sold on an MMO myself. And it doesn't help when people say, yeah, the first 50 hours are pretty bad. You may not want to get into that. And I have, 1,000 hours in my backlog I'm trying to clear anyway. So it's not a very good sales pitch. I think I tried to watch a lore video for this game at one point, and I don't know, maybe it was just the video itself, but it bored me to tears. Sure. I think I fell asleep. Used it as something to fall asleep to for the afternoon or something like that. So it's very interesting though, because this is still one of the most successful MMOs on the market. It still has a huge player base, and it's kept going strong after the pandemic. People stuck around. So it's interesting to hear you say this kind of wishy-washy, it's I don't like it, but I maybe can like it. You know, I
Yep.
I'm interested to see if it hooks you, if it pulls you back in, and if you can tell us why exactly you're into it. Because I think like
Sure.
the last MMO I played was like Toontown Online or something when I was like 6.
Yep.
So like I don't have a lot of experience in the genre, so I'm interested to hear what comes of it.
Sure. Yeah, no, and I think you raise a lot of good points, and like it is really an uncommon thing that happens to me now and then, but I very rarely am like this where I'm like I legit can't pinpoint at this very moment like what makes me want to play it again. Like there's little things, right, I could point to, like I mentioned before, but overall, right, it's not. It's weird. It's like I shouldn't want to, but I do. You know what I mean? It's a very confusing feeling. So, yeah, I'll definitely follow back up on a future podcast episode when I get around to playing it a little more. But, yeah, I don't know. I will say like the one MMO like exposure that I've ever had was Dragon Age Inquisition. In terms of like actually putting hours into a game that essentially has MMO combat for all intents and purposes. And I loved that game. And I've said that before. I really loved that game. So I do think that I am at this very moment, like in time with how busy everything else is, I am seeking out more like passive experiences like these past few weeks. And I do think that helped. You know what I mean? It helped fit the bill because I'm like, oh, okay, like this like pirate guy just got marooned off his ship and he's caught up on the cliff. I need to go bring him bread. Okay, I'll bring him some bread and kill an enemy along the way. You know what I mean? Like it's very turn off your brainy for me, at least at this point. Now, obviously the story I've heard gets a little bit more involved, but at the moment it's fairly MMO expectation. So we'll see. There is something magical and kind of cool, and I'll give MMOs credit for this. There is something kind of magical about just running into an inn and there's like 100 people in there. It is pretty cool, but
it's interesting. Yeah.
I'm very similar to you, and why I don't think ultimately I'm going to be one of those people who like no lifes this game is that I just simply my brain is not super compatible with multiplayer games. I just tend to lean toward single player games, and so I think if anything stops me, it's probably going to be that more than anything. I'm just like, yeah, I could play other single player games during this time. So, yeah, that was all I had.
Nice. Are you gonna play any of the expansions?
I mean, we'll see if I may manage my way through Realm Reborn.
Okay.
If I manage my way through Realm Reborn, I'll probably keep playing the game, to be honest.
Yeah,
so,
at that point, you're sunk.
Yeah.
I think I read something that they're going to, with Dawn Trail, with that update, they're going to upgrade, or they're going to do something to the game or something. Oh, man, I'm trying to forget. I mean, they said there's like some quality of life updates with the new expansion in the summer. So I say keep an eye on that if you're still interested during that time. So
Sure.
Are you interested in Dawn Trail at all? Like, does that catch your eye?
It's hard for me because like I'm so early in this game that it's like I don't even like I'm not even thinking about, you know what I mean, the expansions, because it's like there's still so much content between those that's just kind of how I feel at the moment. Like I'm like, oh yeah, it could be cool, but I don't know. I don't even know any of the characters that are in that expansion yet. So it's like, it's all good.
Okay. Nice. So yeah, I think 14. I think I will get into it one day, but not now because you said 50 hours. Yeah, that's gonna be tough. I know early on it's tough. Like even though they did improve it, I guess. So
Yep.
So yeah, that's it. What we've been playing. Anything you want to say, Henry? Final thoughts? Goodbyes?
Goodbye, everyone. Thank you for listening to the Plug and Play podcast. And Kirby, we need more questions.
Oh yeah,
please send us your questions.
Get some inquiries. It'd be interesting to get that. Any final thoughts, Cameron? You want to say goodbye?
Echoing Henry's thought there at the end, and then also just want to say that, yeah, I mean, another great episode down the road, and we're sub 3 hours for once, people. So hey, if you were wanting a sub 3 hour podcast, it's gonna be this week.
Yep.
So listen.
It's amazing.
Amazing. All right. Thank you to everybody for listening to today's episode for Plug and Play. Be sure to give us a rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts if you haven't done so already. And we will see you in the next one. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
See ya.